For a moment, it seemed like someone growled in pain inside the metal walls. I heard rusty metal hooks jingle on thick metal chainsaws, awaking someone huge who crawled to open the black gates. Nothing happened. My heart was racing. Nothing. Knock knock. I just turned back to the garage so I could run. Привет, Olvi, my name is Herder Fox and welcome to the second episode. Time to play with you of Tiny Bunny. Tiny Bunny? Tiny Bunny, yes. I took a break for about an hour, 1 hour. I know what's happening with me after the last episode, and I'm ready, as you can see, to read more. Are you? If you are, drop a like and let's go. New school, new teachers, and most importantly, new classmates who I'll always trouble connecting with. God damn it, what's happening with me? Like most other kids with glasses, probably. I forced myself to get out of my warm bed. That would usually drive me to my old school, but this morning the bedroom of my parents was silent. Did they sleep in? Maybe it was a good thing. I didn't want to get the daddy's boy reputation from the day one. My parents were probably still tucked in, dreaming about the good old days when everything was so simple and easy. Sweet dreams, even if far removed from reality. I silently sneaked out to the first floor so I wouldn't wake up anybody, especially the peacefully sleeping Oля. I did my best to step on the middle of every floorboard. Why? I used to play like this even in our old apartment. If my soles touched the spaces between floorboards, it counted as stepping into lava. Oh, I know what you mean. The clock was spurring me on with its hands. I need to hurry. Faster, faster. I was too fast. Sonic fast, so I needed to circle the hallway once again. Boiling lava was bursting out of the cracks between floorboards. I needed to watch my step to survive at any cost. Tippity hop like a frog jumping on molehills, like a fearful bunny in a grove full of wolves. I made a sandwich in the kitchen, shoved it down my throat, and drank it down with cold tea. My appetite was as good as of someone being led up the scaffold toward a guillotine. I lowered my gaze and saw that one of my feet was standing on two floorboards at the same time. Burned to a crisp, huh? I moved my foot. Disgusting little snakes writhed in my belly, the fear of getting hit and being called nasty names. The clock clicked. I needed to go. It was dark outside, fitting for an early winter morning. Am I recording? Yes. Okay. Am I recording? Yes. Let's. If you're wondering what just happened, uh, I asked whether I was recording. I checked. I saw that I was. I went back to the game, and then I asked myself again, and then I checked again, like right immediately after that. Yeah, that did indeed happen. I don't know what happened in this hour or 2 hours when I took a break from the previous episode. This darkness never fully left the house around here. I took my time tying my shoes, buttoning up the puffy down jacket, trying to delay my unpleasant exit into the semi-dark, into the unnerving unknown. I rubbed my glasses for good luck, though I couldn't remember a single time these thick pieces of glass brought me any good fortune. Ooh, it's dark and scary there. The sky was akin to a giant bruise. On the east side of it, a black cloud was swelling up. It licked up stars from the sky and extinguished the rising sun. Darkness was plastered all over the treetops. The cautious cries of birds got tangled up in the thicket. I locked the front door with a long key that I wore around my neck. My parents made me wear this noose, afraid that I, being a total klutz that I am, could lose the key otherwise. The wind was whistling outside of the gate. It invited me into my new life toward dubious adventures, and tagged along like an old body, pushing me in the back. White shadows that pined throughout covered a third of the clearing. Upon reaching the edge of the forest, I hit my nose in the coat's collar. I was squeezing through the thin fire break, my hair ruffled up and my back hunched over. Tall trees stood on both sides of the tiny trail. The snowy blanket rustled under my feet, and the canopy of intertwined branches above my head cut me off from the already sparse starlight. The night had no plans of moving away from the forest. In this darkness, trees reminded me of shaggy old women that smelled of burial earth. Their trunks turned into cracked, wrinkled faces with holes in the middle as their mouths. If I lost focus even for a moment, mold-covered beaches would drag me into the forest steps. Then my parents would be walking around this part screaming my name, but the dead can't answer the living. Or can they? A sense of panic was growing in my chest. I was fine with Dad carrying me into the school on his hands by now if it saved me from watching the darkness rise up in the ravenous like black dot. It felt like someone jumped into the bushes behind me, so I turned around. Soon as I started walking faster, I heard the snow squeak behind me. The forest took a deep breath with its giant lungs. The windfall cracked. The wind and the birds were left behind in the field. Now I could only hear the forest creak. I walked, listening closely, and the unseen presence grew stronger, as if someone was following me, trying to match the pace of my footsteps. I turned my head so fast it made my neck crunch. A tiny trail behind me disappeared into the darkness. Tree branches overlapped, forming a natural tunnel. Is anybody here? The question escaped my lips and dissolved into the unending creaking sound of the wooden idols, the pines around me. Why did I think going through the forest alone was a good idea? Dude, don't ask me. I'm either going mad or someone has intentionally lured me away from home. Distant lights granted me a smidgen of hope. A country road. Country road. I ran there as fast as I could, as if afraid that the trail will shrink. Clawed hands will grip me by the shoulders, turn me around, and make me look at the faces of hungry forest denizens. In the end, nobody stopped me. I almost flew to the decrepit wooden bridge, disbelieving my luck. The bridge's support bathed in a spring tarry and ice cold. I put my hands on my knees and looked up at the forest, then snorted, trying to calm my breathing. The thicket was pretending to be asleep. It looked peaceful, lifeless. The remaining part of my commute lied through a snow-laden road, illuminated by sparse lamplights. I chased away bad thoughts and was trying to run from one area light to another as fast as I could, seeking protection from electric lamps. Just like in that game where you need to be the first to proclaim I'm protected. What? Tag! Oh my god. Tag. Making them eat in certain zones, normally called the ghoul. Players can stay safe from tagging. When we played tag, we would, run around and then we would be like, I'm in the house, and when you do that, you couldn't be tagged because you're in the house. And you can do that like whenever and whatever, but it's so scary. But like limited amount of times or something like that. Well, in my version of the game, it's just in this case that protection was flimsy at best, with darkness breathing outside its bounds. Then I noticed something remarkably eerie. In the place where the... Stop with the freaking slurping! I can't stop! Okay, we need to read it really fast so the slurping stops. The place where the lights of an inclined lamp couldn't reach, a hairy, crooked shadow came alive with a guttural roar. Please stop, please stop. It felt almost like its features deterred light, and its natural pose was frightening. My eyes almost popped out of their sockets as I just stood there blinking, trying to chase away that illusion. But the shadows didn't disappear and even got closer. Oh, it stopped. Thank God the slurping stopped. Sorry, I just can't. The flicking slurping. My insides were gripped by horror, stepped back and almost fell into a snow pile. The black silhouette, on the other hand, straightened up and addressed me in a sweet voice. Sneaking around, huh? Trying to steal my soul? Words got stuck in my throat. Who could be talking in such a silky voice here between the forest and the dormant village?
Чего молчишь, несмышленыш?
Will you say something, dummy?
Язык вырвать?
A cat got your tongue?
Слушай, а я тебе еще и нос откушу.
You know, then I'll bite your nose as well. You know, like you don't have...
Будешь знать, как совать его в чужие дела.
I'll teach you not to be too nosy. Our girl stood before me, judging from the voice and the silhouette. But I couldn't even reprimand myself on getting scared by a girl when I saw a gaping mouth under her hood and something dangerously shiny inside it. I was stunned. It's a fox! Guys, it's from the cavity of her hood, a frighteningly real fox face was staring straight at me. Erder the fox? It's just her jaws weren't moving and her eyes weren't blinking. A mask. A cool one. It's just a girl with a fox mask on. At least I wanted to think that. After a surprise like that, a nervous smile involuntarily crept onto my face. I was just
Просто в школу иду, а тут ты.
going to school and then you?
Что я?
What about me?
Никогда не видел, как лиса собаку кормит.
Never seen a fox feed a dog? And indeed, there was a small dog circling the girl's legs, one of the strays that were chasing me yesterday, probably.
Извини, я не хотел.
Sorry, I didn't mean to. After hearing my voice, the dog whimpered, lowered its ears, sniffed me out, and then started wagging its tail. Aww. I guess I still smelled of bologna that they ate for breakfast. I was shifting my gaze back and forth from the dog to the girl. She didn't seem scary anymore, just weird.
Значит, не хотел.
So you didn't mean to, huh?
Как тебя зовут?
What's your name?
Меня Антон.
I'm Anton.
А тебя?
And you?
А меня нет.
And I'm not. Yee, Jesus Christ, what a creepy. She's weird. Definitely has a couple loose screws. But she has a nice voice. Yeah, that's all that matters, right? My astonishment has turned into a mix of happiness and relief. The girl I didn't know was definitely human, if a bit eccentric. I was also a bit angry at myself. The foxy girl was walking through the darkness without problem, and I shuddered from every little sound. I could have just went ahead, but the girl had piqued my interest. The next time a police officer asks me about my friends at the new place, I'll tell them that they befriended a talking fox.
Здесь живешь?
Do you live around here? In the village? The fox giggled and purred. She spun around so hard the hem of her coat lifted up.
Нет,
No,
глупый.
dummy.
Лисы не живут в
Foxes don't
поселках.
live in villages.
Хочешь сказать, ты живешь в лесу?
So you live in the forest then?
Из какой норы ты вылез?
Have you been living under a rock?
Конечно. Лисам среди людей не выжить,
It's obvious that foxes can't survive anywhere near humans,
пока они лисы.
as long as they're foxes. Her jokes were also weird. Just like her carnival mask, papier-mâché with fur glued onto it. A dog reminded us of its existence with a loud bark. I unfastened my backpack. Dad would sometimes throw food in there without my knowledge, cookies, apples, or even my favorite crab sticks. He called it a gift from the bunny. Something about the shit from the bunny. The uneaten part of a business lunch or a treat specifically bought for children. Parents would tell their children that the bunny asked them to deliver said treat, but it could also be any other animal, a squirrel, a bear. Yeah, I also got treats, but not from the bunny, like from different animals. But yeah, I know that. I heard that a lot in my childhood. The stray strolled toward me with mincing footsteps, with a pleading look in its eyes. The fox did definitely treat it to something, but it was probably still hungry.
Зачем ты так вырядилась с утра пораньше?
Why are you dressed like this so early in the morning?
На утренник идешь?
Going to a costume party? The girl shrugged, throwing silvery snowflakes off her nose, and her human form along with them, turning into a genuine beast. A real fox, agile, cunning, dangerous. A moment of hesitation and you'll be ripped to shreds. She'll tear you apart and gulp you down without breaking a sweat. Foxes are nice. Shut up. Have you seen foxes hunt? Look how it looks like. It's hilarious. It's not scary. Cute if you want to say so, but not. I couldn't help but just stand there as a stump until I heard her calm melodic laughter, hidden underneath the beastly mask.
Видел бы ты свою маску,
I wish you
сладенький.
could have seen your own mask, sweetie. No. She's just, yeah, I got embarrassed, went right up to my hair roots. We'd seen a fox in a zoo once when we went there with Dad, but it had patchy fur, was grey and skinny. But this girl was of fiery color and furry, just like in fairy tales. I was still rummaging through my backpack. My fingers that were looking for the food for the dog felt something soft and crumpled.
Ничего,
We'll see.
скоро проснутся настоящие звери.
The real beasts will wake up soon.
Спроси-ка лучше у них, где они взяли свои человеческие лица.
You should ask them where they got their human faces. The girl's shadow was dancing in the lamp's light. The dog yapped in agreement. I dropped my I hope I'm not that cringe as that girl. I dropped my finding into the snow from the surprise without getting a proper chance to examine it. A cold wind instantly covered the edge of the hole it created with snow. The dog rushed to dig it out, probably thinking it was a treat, and the fox just snorted. Now I was so embarrassed I wanted to sink through the snow. It was still dark outside of the electric circle. On the contrary, the darkness seemed even more thick. All neighbor houses were sleeping deeply in sickness. I did my best to continue the conversation with the weird girl I didn't know.
Ты в школу идешь?
So are you going to school?
Ах, ну какой же дурачок!
Oh my, you are a real
Так
dummy.
ничего и
Don't
не
you
понял.
get it? Welp, I was trying to be friendly, but she can't stop mocking me. Calling me a dummy. Look how Engie the dude is. Look how Engie. He looks exactly like one of my classmates from school. You can't even imagine. He looks so much, like especially here, like one of my classmates. Jeez, that's very weird. I even got goosebumps. Like, what? I should have just moved along without paying any attention to this weird and her stupid dog.
А ты чего обзываешься?
Why are you so exactly like my classmate? Exactly like my class. Why are you so mean?
Не хочешь отвечать, и пожалуйста.
Don't answer if you don't want to.
Никто не требует.
It's not like I care. Still, something froze me in place, tugged me toward the dark figure. A mysterious appearance, her voice that was velvety and just languid enough. I was intrigued and excited. I watched her as people watch fires burn.
Ой, да не дуйся.
Oh, stop pounding.
Гляди-ка лучше.
Look here.
Ты нравишься Жульке.
Julka took a liking to you. The dog was digging through snow with sharp movements, snoring loudly. The fox turned around and looked at the windows of a nearby house and its timbered front through the white mist. The tip of her fake nose was shining under the lamp's light.
И не только ей.
And maybe someone else too. I went red again, like a boiled crayfish this time. Is she talking about herself or someone else? I hoped that the semi-dark would be able to hide my embarrassment from the girl. I cleared my throat before
А
asking.
кому еще я нравлюсь?
And who's that person that likes me? I waited, counting my heartbeat. The fox didn't reply. Her sly stare was scanning the frosty patterns of someone's windows. She was reading them like a glass book. I wonder what she can see in these winter paintings. The stray stopped rummaging through the snow. It ran to me, holding my object in her jaw. A mitten. Could it be the one that I found in the forest? What is it doing here? When I looked closer, I realized that it was just my mitten. Maybe Mom stuffed it in there when I was asleep. A certain lost boy immediately came to mind.
Эй, ты знаешь что-нибудь про Вову?
Hey, do you know anything about Vova? I imagined the scene, silhouettes dancing in the clearing. The dance on the night when Vova had disappeared. A boy who, when found, can provide a big reward and maybe save my family. I remembered my birthday, when our parents promised to take me and Ollie to Disney in Paris. Disneyland in Paris, but instead of a long anticipated gift, they gave me a simple brick game console, visibly embarrassed. I was crying my eyes out and demanded to take me to the promised amusement park. That was the first time when mom and dad had a big fight. My greetings shattered their relationship. If only I could fix everything, gather everybody I love and take them to Disneyland.
В ночь, когда пропал Вова, я, кажется, видел, как кто-то похожий на тебя плясал под моим окном.
On the night Vova had disappeared, I think I saw someone looking like you dancing under my window. It couldn't be true, but I felt like her mask became even more sly. The fox was sniffing me out.
А что? Ты тогда испугался?
Oh, did you get scared that time?
За себя или кого-то еще?
For yourself or for someone else? Оля, as soon as I thought about my sister, my chest tightened and cold sweat started running down my spine.
Ну так слушай меня внимательно, мальчик по имени Антон.
Well then, listen closely, a boy named Anton.
Это большой и страшный лес.
This is a big and scary forest. The foxy made a decisive step forward.
И я не единственный его обитатель.
And I'm not its only tenant.
Другие звери уже знают о тебе.
The other beasts already know about you.
Берегись нас. Этой ночью мы опять придем.
Beware, we'll come see you this night too. I shouldn't have talked to this evil in child form, I thought, panicking.
Пока ты со своей семьей будешь спать, подкрадемся близко-близко.
While both you and your parents are asleep, we'll sneak to your side and dance, what, on your graves?
Макарену!
Something like Macarena.
Чё?
Huh?
Эй, Макарена! У тебя прямо челюсть отвисла, Антоша!
Look at you, your mouth is agape, Antosha.
Видел он меня ночью у своего окна? Ага, как же!
He saw me near his window at night. Yeah, right.
А ты случаем не местный дурачок?
Are you maybe not right in the head?
Меня не отпускают гулять так поздно.
Nobody would let me out go outside that late.
Здесь, знаешь ли, дети пропадают.
Children go missing here, you know. I touched the plastic frame of my glasses, puzzled by her silly joke. She got me scared to death.
Ой, да не тереби ты окуляры свои.
Hey, why don't you stop fondling your
Я
glasses?
раньше тоже близорукой была.
I was also nearsighted once.
Лучше послушай меня. Может быть, ума наберешься.
Listen to me and maybe you'll become smarter.
Лисичку как обычно называют?
Remember, what do they call foxes?
Плутовка?
Cunning? My words seemed to hurt her.
Ох ты ж!
Hey,
Как ты меня?
what did you...
Ой, прости.
Sorry. The girl laughed with the voice of two jingling silver bells. I wouldn't call this two jingling silver bells. I would call this creepy as heck.
Да шучу я!
Just pulling your leg.
Конечно, плутовкой.
Of course we're cunning.
Если ты ловкий и смелый, не боишься с плутовкой водиться, я так и быть помогу разыскать этого Вову.
If you're agile and brave enough to befriend a cunning fox, I'll help look for your Vova.
Ты же неспроста его ищешь.
There's a reason why you're doing it, right? Why you're looking for him, right? I shrugged in reply. Her insight was alarming.
Знаю, почему дети повадились соваться в наш лес.
I know why children have been swarming our forest recently.
Порой там можно найти много всякого интересного.
Because you can find a lot of interesting stuff
Я
there.
вот однажды нашла целый сугроб конфет и купалась в нем. Да так что челюсть слиплась.
One day I saw a huge pile of candy once and I swam in it until my jaws cramped. A pile of candy? I couldn't deduct from whether she believed in what she was saying from the tone of her voice. I shot her another smile, a fake one this time.
Посмотрите-ка, какой недоверчивый.
Ooh, so wary.
Ну-ну, а что ты на это скажешь?
Well, what will you say to this then? She held out her hand in a fur mitten. Is this creepy? Or not? In her palm was an assortment of sweets. In the city where I lived previously, sweets like this would be sold in markets or kiosks. It's like basically little shops. Yeah, small shops. Wait, what does they say? Assortment of products from bubblegum to vodka, clothing, or even home appliances. Yeah, newspapers, lottery tickets, food. Yeah, food, like, you know, the pancakes, like little small ones. Uh, and more fun. They're not tied to criminal organizations. Oh, shut up! I saw my favorite bubblegum in a vivid wrapper among the tasty treasure. A familiar name was on it. Turbo. The fox's triangular face nodded at me.
Угощайся.
Take some.
У меня их полные
My
карманы.
pockets are full of these. Oh god. Okay, let's take. I accepted the treat, catching a whiff of the girl's scent. She smelled of fur, fireworks, smoke, and citrus, the aroma of holiday. My fingers were tingling while I was unwrapping the gum with care. Peachy aroma entered my nostrils, and there was something else to it too, something unknown but pleasant. The fruity cube ended up in my mouth. I started moving my molars, chewing the gum. It tasted like your usual Turkish gum, only my tongue went a bit numb. Couldn't believe my luck after opening the insert. Mercedes Benz. Yeah. The type of game where player put bubblegum and try to flip it by throwing it in the air. I have no idea about that. Yeah, about that. These things are collectibles. I don't know. Is it just in Russia? What? Yeah, like these things, you collect them and stuff. Well, used to. Wait. Okay. I looked at Mercedes Benz, an extremely rare and hence desirable collector's item for any boy from my previous neighborhood. My heart skipped a beat. I was barely able to tear my eyes off the insert, still
Это
stunned.
же...
This is...
Теперь понял, что можно найти в лесу.
Now do you see what can be found in the forest?
Только на твоем месте я бы туда в одиночку не ходила.
Still, I wouldn't go there alone if I were you.
Тебе вон от жвачки в забу дыханье сперла.
You get so flustered over simple bubblegum after all.
А представляешь, что с тобой будет, если найдешь чемодан таких фантиков?
Imagine what would happen if you find a travel case worth of these.
Голову напрочь снесет.
It'll surely blow
Пиши пропала.
your mind. Unusual treats, just like everything else about her. I carefully hid the insert in my bag as if I was putting a rare butterfly in a can. The fox giggled. This is not how things are supposed to go on a Monday morning. Who are you? I refrained from asking that question. She wouldn't answer anyway, or she'll just lie. I really wanted to see what's behind her mask. I was becoming more and more sure that underneath it wasn't just a simple young girl.
Может, Вова тоже нашел сугроб сладостей и теперь кувыркается в нем?
What if Wova also found a snow pile with sweets and now is rolling in it?
Слушай,
Actually,
вдруг он решил остаться в лесу?
what if he decided to stay in the forest?
Тогда, наверное, ему очень холодно в одной варежке.
He must be so cold without his second meeting then. The wind caught her words like smoke from a fire and carried them deep into the darkness, into the creepy thicket. The trees behind me creaked with their bony branches.
Или с ним что-то случилось.
Or what if... How does she know that he only has one meeting? Something happened to him along the way.
Что-то
Something
страшное.
terrible. The forest answer to her words became alive. It sniffed me out, perking up its ears just like a curious beast. The fox pierced me with the same
Дикие
stare.
звери?
Wild beasts?
Это, по-твоему,
You
страшно?
find that terrible?
Ну, не
Well,
знаю.
oh no.
Не знаю.
He doesn't know.
Уж не с
my.
двоечником я подружилась.
Have I befriended a dunce? I didn't like being called an F student, but the fact she said we were friends reassured me.
Я хорошист.
My grades are good.
Билда,
Really now? What did she just say? Something that really doesn't make sense but rhymes.
пойдешь со мной?
Really?
Фашист Антон.
Come with me, good grades, Anton.
Найдем твоего Вову и сам его спросишь, что
We'll
он нашел в этой
fa-
пуще.
Find your Bob and you'll ask him what he found in the forest.
Ведь пока мы вместе, никто тебя в лесу не тронет.
Nothing can harm you here while you're with me.
Вот увидишь.
You'll see. Worms of worry breathed in my belly. Better run, whispered my
Я тебе
mind.
не верю.
I don't believe you.
Ты думаешь, я вру
Do you take me for a liar?
Да и пожалуйста.
Whatever.
Никогда никто не верит.
Nobody ever believes me. The girl sounded hurt, though I didn't know if she was genuine about it. The fox turned her back to me, as if she lost all interest in me in a second. The gum felt bitter now. I remembered my dad's favorite phrase, "Where are your manners, son?" Indeed, this fox was kind
Не
to me.
обижайся,
Please don't
пожалуйста.
get mad.
Лисы бывают и добрыми.
Foxes can also be nice,
Ну, как в сказках.
like in fairy tales.
Мне бы только понять, что ты за лиса.
I just need to know what kind of fox you are. The girl giggled, hiding the nose of her mask in her hands.
Тогда пойдем со мной в лес.
Then follow me into the forest,
Всё
and you'll
обо
get
мне
to know me.
узнаешь. Но не сейчас.
But not right now, when it gets bright.
А то тебя, бедного, всего аж потряхивает.
I mean, your whole body's shaking, you poor
Да
thing.
выгляди, кондрашка хватит.
I don't want you to get a stroke.
Да, провожу тебя до школы.
Hey, let me accompany you to school. After hearing this, the dog barked in agreement and stopped messing with the mitten. I leaned in, trying to grab the piece of handwear that almost ran away from
Ну,
me.
если тебе по пути,
Well, if you're going in the same direction. We went towards school and the lost dawn. Here and there, the lights came out on the windows of houses we passed, as if their inhabitants were sending us warning signals. Silhouettes lurked behind curtains, dogs would let out an occasional bark. Spirals of grey smoke rose from the chimneys, TVs bustled in the kitchens, dishes were ringing. We watched the village slowly rise from its slumber while carefully treading the snowy wheeled trails. I took the left, the girl the one on the right, and the dog was following right behind us. I expected the fox to bring up something weird again, but she was being silent all the way, as if playing some game, only she was private to with me. She would only giggle from time to time when the dog sneezed from the snowflakes that fell on its nose. I was the first to break the
так как
silence.
тебя зовут?
So what's your name?
А, ну конечно.
Here it comes.
Имена, имена, имена.
Names.
Людям непременно надо вешать ярлыки на все подряд.
You people always need to put labels on everything.
Ну и как бы ты назвал такую лису, как я?
What name would you give me to a fox like
Даже
me?
не знаю.
I don't know.
Но я читал про лису по имени Алиса.
But I've read about Alisa the
А
fox.
что?
You know what?
Я не
I don't
против.
mind.
Пусть будет Алиса.
I'll be Alisa. I couldn't understand if she was joking or not. I turned around as if looking for an answer from a dog from a dark sky without the tingle of the dawn. My silent questions were left unanswered. The school's outline was already in our sight, a giant brick box stuck in the endless night. The light in its windows bore ill omens for me. Smoking. The warden trees were guarding the schoolyard. A scream, childish laughter, and someone's whistling tore up the silence. I went here with Mom when we just moved here and it looked cozy at that time. Empty corridors, that smell of polish, puffy snow outside. The second time I visited, I was alone to get the pox, so I was trying to imagine my peers rolling down the railings, small kids running to the library, and teachers moving down the corridor with the air of self-importance around them. High schoolers were smoking at the entrance, wearing wool caps on their foreheads and track pants. Their appearance chased away any feelings of coziness I could have gotten out of this place. Senior looks and teeth, yellow from nicotine, smirks, all of that was making me feel as sad as in the cloudy winter morning. Being deep in my thoughts, I completely forgot about my companion.
После уроков жду тебя на заднем дворе.
I'll wait for you at the backyard after school,
Возле повешенного.
near the hangman.
Возле кого?
Near what? She just ignored my
Не
question. Don't be
опаздывай.
late. I hesitated. Blowing hot and cold again, Mom always said that when I would have trouble choosing between two options. Thinking about Mom helped me to
Я
reply.
после школы сразу домой.
I'm going straight home after school.
Эх, Антоша,
Well-
Антоша, это я тебя так просто отпустила.
Antosh, I'm going to let you off the hook.
Другие же незаметно подкрадутся со своими улыбочками и вцепятся. Клещами не оторвешь.
The others will creep up on you with their smiles and sink their teeth into you. Won't be able to shake them off as easily.
Попомни мои слова.
Remember my words. The fox opened her mouth in a wide yawn. What kind of chick is this?
Антоха!
What? Some kids that were running somewhere in the distance called out my name. I instinctively turned around. A huge snowball whizzled past my shoulder and hit the dog. It whimpered and ran toward the sprawn. I barely saw its tail. It got devoured by darkness, and the fox was also gone in an instant, dissipated into the frosty air. Or did she hide in my shadow? I gulped and swallowed the gum. Unlucky. I took a deep breath and went toward school, toward the cattles in dough, toward the light raining down on the snow. There was a fresh-looking Volga parked nearby, with one of its front wheels perched up on the icy curb. Black like soot, as if it was straight out of the horror story Dad loved to tell me when we hid in the attic during a thunderstorm. I remember Kim always wearing a sad smile while mentioning the black car that snatched children. He would say, "It looks like a funeral car on the inside, white curtains and all, and it had DCC in its license plate. Do you know what that means? Death to Soviet children. Fanya was born in the USSR too." Ah. A tall man was standing near it, puffing out clouds of smoke into the windy air. Didn't look like a teacher. Was he a PE guy, maybe? I carefully studied his face that looked like it was cut from a piece of granite, I don't know how to pronounce that, and his hair lip that was holding down a cigarette. He was playing around with car keys and staring back at us. The light from the cigarette was reflected in his eyes that were sitting deep in his eye sockets. I froze in place. The hulking man lazily tore off his eyes from us and looked at the road. And what? The mother who does this nest belonged to a thieving magpie, and it probably has all sorts of shiny things in it. Pieces of colorful glass, bottle caps, polished coins, or child braces. A bustling crowd of upperclassmen with their winter hats tipped to the side. I'd better not draw their attention. I don't think we have anything else here, so let's go. Muffled voices were coming from the other side of the corridor. The lamps were blinking. Darkness was creeping by the windows, and it felt like the school was drifting in space like a lonely spaceship. Okay, it's the schedule, lessons schedule. After going up to the second floor, I noticed a crowd around the notice board. Everyone was taking part in a lively discussion. I moved closer and looked at something everyone was interested in through the wall of backpacks. There was a piece of paper with something printed on it glued to the left of the class schedule. Do you have like class schedule like on a board in corridors as well? Like in your country? Or in your school and stuff? Because I remember, yeah, we had like printed class schedule. Oh my, it's all electronic now, I bet. But we still had it printed on the wall or in the corridor. It was so like inconvenient. Attention, child missing. Vava Matyuhin, 10 years old, grade 4B. He left his home on January 5th around 4 o'clock and never... Attention, child missing. That's his name. 4th grade. On that grainy print, Vova looked like a dead man with a black mouth and dark empty eye sockets. Maybe it's just the forest darkness invaded his pores and mutilated his face. A plastic toy gun couldn't protect him from whispering branches and howling winds. Empty eyes of the missing boy pierced through my soul as if pleading. Unable to meet his gaze, I turned around and rushed to the window, took a seat on the windowsill. The corridor was slowly filling up with small groups of children. Nobody paid me any mind. Amid the darkness of school toilets, child voices were reciting a nursery rhyme. For the fox and for the bear, Bunny tasty meals prepare. I turned my head toward them, trying to get a better look at their features, but then my attention was stolen by a loud clicking sound. A female teacher marched down the corridor with her chin raised up high. Looks like one of my teachers, like who studied geography in my school, honestly. Her heels were hitting the floor like miniature hooves. A schoolgirl was following her closely. Look, she looks like real and she looks like anime and stuff. She was also looking pompous, stopping along the way and whispering some secrets in her friend's ear. She was probably a class rep since she was carrying an attendance register book.
Екатерина, возьми, пожалуйста.
Ekaterina, take this, please. She looks evil. The teacher opened the door and the crowd rushed in, shouting and pushing each other. Out of all of them, a tall redhead fat boy caught my attention. God damn it. Body shamed. His face was so full of blisters it looked like the insides of a pomegranate. A bad feeling made the hair on the back of my head rise. I've seen boys like him before and certainly nice, cackling laugh. The girl, who was a smaller copy of the teacher, warned the boy with a wave of her hand and entered the room through the clearing in the crowd. Some boy stumbled on the doorway and the red had immediately shoved him.
Топай речь, мудила.
Move your legs. They didn't say moral. Moron. They said it was worse than moron. The boy flew headfirst, flailing his hands, trying to keep balance. The fatso burst out laughing, and a couple of kids joined his nasty cackling. Their laughter sounded like someone was sniping with huge garden scissors. Snipping, sorry. Not sniping. Nobody snipes with scissors. The classrooms sucked all of the kids in. The corridors stood empty. I wanted to grow roots into the windowsill. Just a handful of lampposts outside were battling the darkness, riding like fluorescent fish in a black ocean. Maybe I can still run away, go outside, dissolve in the dark. I imagined myself running through snow, how it would squeak under my boots, and how I would become lighter and lighter with every step. The winner's thrill blew that illusion away. I barely managed to tear myself from the window. Then I took a couple of deep breaths, trying to at least calm down my mad pulse, and entered the classroom. Looks like my school. So much. You can't. Looks so much like my school. Oh, look, that's think you don't know who that is, right? That's like Russian poet who wrote lots of, like poems about fatherland, a lot about country, about love and love to the country as well, but about love to women as well. And he's also known for writing short rhymes that had like loads of swear words. So yeah, he was like a funny dude there. Then this is a writer who wrote Crime and Punishment, and I probably you have even heard about it. I'm not sure. This is also a writer. He wrote, the most famous of his books is Master. I'm gonna translate. I'm gonna look how it, in English. The Master and Margarita, just like that. Then who do we have here? Oh, we have another famous writer. He wrote Woe from Wit. In English, it sounds like Woe from Wit. That's the most like the novel that we study in school, and that you probably might know. Then, another famous writer. He wrote a bunch of stuff. He's actually like a horror novelist. Well, not only horror genre, but he has a pretty good horror stories. For example, geez, I need to translate them for you. It's a pretty scary one. It's called V, and in English it's also called V. Then there's like The Night Before Christmas. What? It's called The Night Before Christmas in English? But it's actually like scary stories, Okay, in English it's called The Night Before Christmas. But in Russian, if you like literal translation, it's called The Evenings. Like in the countryside near, and then there's like the name of a city, like Dikanka. I know. Like different. Dead Souls is written by him, and you probably might know it. But the funny thing is that Dead Souls isn't a horror story, and the other two are. And then who do we have here? I actually don't recognize this person. Can I actually read their name? I don't know who that is. Welp, you see? Embarrassing. I don't know who that is. Sorry guys. Well, I gave you some insight, right? Oh no, I don't know who that is. The prim teacher looked at me over the frame of her glasses, looking really annoyed.
Я новенький.
I'm the transfer student.
Мне вот сказали к вам подойти.
I was told to come here. The snowy forest trail was winding in front of my eyes. The pines rustled but didn't sound predatory anymore. She buried herself in the register and flicked through the
А
pages.
фамилия-то как?
Your last name?
Петров.
Petrov.
Громче говори.
Ha, why? What are you mumbling there?
Чего мямлишь?
Say it clearly.
Петров.
Petrov.
Нет такого.
You're not on the list. She measured me with a long and heavy stare as if trying to see if I was lying. I wanted to sink through the floor. Hazy faces observed all of that from the left. The classroom breathed and snorted in unison like a living organism, like a dangerous
Ты не
beast.
ошибся?
Are you sure? I'm gonna open the window. Sorry, yes, I need to do it right now.
Нет такого в списке.
I didn't have you in my register. My knees chose the worst time to start shaking, and I felt dizzy. I clutched my fists so hard my knuckles became white.
Мне сказали, 204 кабинет, Лилия Павловна, 6 В.
They told me to come to the classroom 204 to ask for Lilia Pavlovna, class 6C. Apparently everyone in the classroom took my words for some sort of a joke because they were all laughing.
Что за бардак?
What's wrong with this school? The classroom felt silent. The kids hid their smirks for the better occasion.
Понаберут студентов.
Why do we hire so many interns?
Только знают, что губяки свои малевать. А я разгребай, значит.
They all know how to put lipstick all over their bulging lips, but when it comes to real problems, I have to solve everything?
А бумаги-то кто заполнять будет? Не первый раз ведь уже.
How did they send you here without any proper paperwork? Ah, we've had the same thing happen so many times
Подожди
already.
здесь. Сейчас.
Wait here, I'll be back.
Сейчас я им устрою.
After I have a little chat with them. The teacher flew past me, mumbling something to herself in righteous anger, and I was left standing in the center of the classroom. I don't know who that is. Now I can see their name clearly, but I don't know who that is. Гоголь, Грибоедов, Андреев, Гоголь, Грибоедов, Булгаков, Есенин, Достоевский. Like a convict in front of a firing squad, I lowered my gaze with mocking stares from all around the classroom directed at me. They prickled my skin and danced on it like lights from laser sights. Whoa. I imagined running far away from this place again, fighting the cloven wind, soaring high above the pines in one long jump. With the wind in my back as my only companion, the eyes of my future classmates were asking the new boy, is he one of us or an outsider? Somebody whispered something and stifled laughter rolled through the classroom.
Доску вытри!
Wipe the board. It was easy to guess who was the main prankster here.
Эй, очкарик!
Hey, Four
Ты
Eyes.
чё, не только слепой, но еще и глухой?
Are you not only blind but also deaf?
Доску вытри, говорю!
I said wipe the board. My knees weren't the only shaking part of my body anymore. I was trembling from head to toe, and I prayed for the teacher to come back sooner. My prayers were answered by powers that be.
Ну что мне с тобой делать-то?
And what should I do with you
Куда
now?
сажать, а?
Where will you sit?
Давай-ка сядь, наверное, с Семеном.
No! Oh well, you can sit with Simeon, I
Он
guess.
все равно один.
He's alone anyway. Do you mean like with the prankster?
Еще чего?
No way. The fatso put his backpack on the seat beside him in defiance, scratched his belly and smirked.
Ты опять за старое?
You're back to your old
Снова
tricks.
бабушку в школу вызывать?
Should I call your grandma here again? The classroom went silent.
А чё она мне сделает?
And what she's gonna do?
Не она, так я тебе сделаю.
I'll be the one to do something if she doesn't.
Рюкзак убрал быстро.
Put away your backpack now. Sorry I'm not doing voices, it's just so hard. It's so much reading, it's so hard, and my voice starts hurting. So I'm not gonna do voices, I'm just gonna go through it. He didn't move a muscle. He started studying the portraits of writer. writers on the wall looking bored. I needed to do something to resolve this somehow to save
Я...
myself. I cleared my throat and continued in a stiff voice that sounded nothing like me.
Я могу за последнюю парту сесть.
I can sit in the last
Там,
row.
кажется, свободно.
I think there is a free seat. The teacher snored loudly. She looked at me, then at Simeon, then back at me.
Ладно,
Fine, go there
садись
for
пока
now.
туда. А с тобой, бабурин,
And you,
мы еще
Baburin,
поговорим.
I'll have a talk with you later.
Чтобы подошел после уроков.
Come to me after
Будешь
classes.
по классу дежурить, ясно?
You'll be on cleaning duty, got it? Simeon forced out a twisted smile. Juicy pimples were growing on the tip of his nose, ripe for the taking. I walked carefully, afraid to stumble and fall, causing another outburst of laughter from everyone. Like Jennifer Lawrence. I took my seat at the back, at the last table, where I was met with a pile of old posters. The outcasts took their seats, and the class was ready to start.
Вот и хорошо. Начнем урок.
Now this is settled, let's start the class.
Тема: традиции русской и мировой литературы в рассказе Зощенко «Не надо врать».
Oh my god. I hate Zoshenka. I'm sorry. Maybe you probably don't even know who Zoshenka is. Maybe you are of a different opinion. I freaking hate Zoshenka. I can't. It's my personal opinion, okay? I've read him and I didn't like it like at all. I disliked it. Today's theme is tradition of Russian international literature and Zoshenka's Don't Lie. The fatso turned back to me. His stare told me about long days, weeks, and months of endless bullying. I got my eyes on you, said his watery look. What the heck's that? After just a couple of lessons, I've already noticed a huge yellow speed stain in my notebook. Oh no, Simeon. Okay, it says, if you're not... Okay, it's gonna sound awful, okay? Russian people, not all of them, I'm not talking about all of them, but it's not uncommon for Russian people, especially guys, to be homophobic, okay? Not all of them. It's getting a lot better, and that depends on the region. So like in Moscow, it's less of a problem. The further you go into Siberia, the more of a problem it is. But it says if you're not gay, paint another wagon. So basically, it's like a game. You make the first wagon and every other wagon. I'm not even sure if that's called a wagon, but you know, like every other like piece of a train should look differently. And like you do that. And like you basically paint it on a piece of paper, and then you just give it to another person and it goes through the whole class. Кнопки снотворные. Oh, it says don't buy sleeping pills, just attend classes. And this is a book about the history of an ancient world. After just a couple of lessons, I've already noticed a huge... And the cafeteria, the Simeon accidentally spilled a glass of compote on me. Compote is basically like a drink made from berries and brewed from a mix of dry fruit and berries, yeah. And then he flailed his hands around after exiting the toilet, so some of the liquid from his hands would get on me. Just before the final period for today, Simeon pushed me into a buzzing crowd of girls from our class. Oh my god, oopsies, they made way, cursing. I couldn't hold my balance, I ended up ramming into the chest of the girl I took for the class rep before.
Ой!
What the heck? This is such an anime moment. Oh my god. I immediately stepped back, dying from
Настя,
embarrassment.
ты в порядке?
I'm sorry, are you alright?
Я...
Then she suddenly put her hands on her hips.
Нет, ну
That
вы
wasn't hips.
посмотрите на него.
Will you look at him? Why? You're so angry.
Облапал меня прямо у всех на глазах.
Creeping me in front of everyone.
Я сейчас все маме расскажу.
I'll tell my mom.
Тебя из школы выгонят,
They'll
извращенец.
expel you, pervert. That's such a bitch. There was some sort of sadistic pleasure in her eyes, as if she was a child who was about to put a lit up match to the chaffered beetle.
Я нечаянно, меня толкнули.
I didn't mean to, he pushed me.
Все видели. Слепых среди нас нет.
We all saw that, no blind among us. She stared at my glasses while showing me a creepy smile. She's such a bitch. I started to fume on the inside, but Simeon's had cooled my head.
Толкнули?
I pushed you, you sure? He walked up to me lazily, his breath full of sunflower seeds and rotten teeth, and then pushed me to the ground.
Вот так, да?
Like this, huh?
Что ты сделаешь?
What's she gonna do now? The delinquent towered over me as if saying, "Come on, hit me, let me see you try." Oh heck. Okay, what would I choose? I would choose to endure. That's my choice my whole entire life. That's why I play in this game. I'm going to choose something different for a change.
Слушай, ты...
Listen, you. My throat went dry, my lips weren't responding to my will, and my voice was akin to a stifled squeal. Simeon wore a mocking smile. Yeah, punch him in his freaking nose.
Давай, продолжай, очкарик.
Go on, Four Eyes.
Чё примолк-то?
Why did you stop?
Нам всем очень интересно.
We are all waiting, like we want to hear you.
Если еще хоть раз меня
If you ever
тронешь-
touch me again, Simeon slowly stuck out a finger with a massive signet. What? Pushed it into my forehead.
Натронул и
I
чё?
did so what?
Еще хоть раз!
If you ever do it again,
Тронул.
here,
А вот
once
ещё.
more,
И ещё.
and again,
И ещё.
and again.
И ещё.
He was poking me with his finger so hard that my hair tilted backward. I must not cry, or I'll be done for.
Чё
What
ты
will
мне
a pimp like you
сделаешь,
do to me? My vision went blurry. My soul tore off from the floor. I rushed forward and threw a random punch without looking.
Ха!
Did you at least hit him? What I saw when I opened my eyes was beautiful and horrifying at the same time. Simeon was no pain, achievement unlocked. Simeon was holding his ears and blinking in amazement. Or was I the first person to rebel against his absolute rule?
Стопэ!
Лена!
I needed to run, but I was already surrounded by his cronies.
Лилия Павловна!
Лилия Павловна!
Лилия Павловна! Петров Бабурина ударил!
Petrov just hit Baburin. Oh, such a bitch. Simeon's cheeks grew even redder and his pimples even wider, like the heads of larvae. The smile flashed on his face and was only noticed among his comrades. He got really close to me. The smell of rotten teeth washed over me.
Тебе
You?
пиздец!
Yeah, basically what he said. His voice was evil and dangerous, like a kettle with boiling fat, with the lid off. I was waiting to get here, counting the thumbs on my heart and guessing where his fists will go. The solar plexus, the jaw, the nose, but he just turned around and walked off. I thought cold and sober, extremely rational popped up in my head. I'm going to get killed today. After the classes, I was late to leave the school on purpose. Simeon didn't attend the last period, so I was hopeful. What if he decides to dodge the cleaning duty and run home forgetting all about me? I heaved a sigh of relief, like someone on death row whose execution was delayed by a day. But I didn't let myself to forget his tone, his vengeful gaze, and his scary, electrified smirk. While the other students were leaving the school laughing loudly, I was pretending to look through my books near a window. I was staring outside, nervous. Simeon was nowhere to be found in the front yard or near the school gate. I didn't really believe I was this lucky, so I decided to be extra cautious and stayed for some more time in the gradually less crowded corridor. All of the bustle moved to the first floor. There was a skeleton peeking out of the biology classroom. Some jokester put a cap with the American condor on his head. The sounds of running water were coming from the bathroom. I was the only person left in the whole school. I'm not alone, a sudden thought came to mind. Remember the lost boy, his portraits were hanging near the announcement board. I remember his smile, his watchful eyes, and the fact that he's most likely already dead.
Привет.
Hello. I shuddered and turned around. What the frick? Is this like the 5 most romantic animal moments? Compilation. At first, my eye stumbled upon the black violin case. Noticed a girl from my class that was holding it. She looks like... Does she look a little bit like me? I know, probably not. Just, you know, the hair, the... No, probably not. Well, maybe a little bit. She sat in the yeah, nose is not like mine. Yeah, no, nothing like me. Nothing. She sat in the first row of the second column. I was sitting on the second row of the third column. And the last column. The first from the door. I could swear I caught her looking at me a couple of times. I was... Why do I have a feeling that she looks a little bit like me? Does she? Or nothing at all? I don't know why, but like I suddenly felt like there's some resemblance, but I don't know what. I know what makes me feel like it. The hair? I don't even know. The eyes? I don't know. Maybe there is nothing like similar at all. I was sneaking glances at her myself. Sometimes it just feels nice to look at oh god, something pretty, a running spree in a blue sky, or a girl doesn't laugh at Simon's jokes along with everybody else. And she wasn't exchanging wild gossip about other girls with Katya. She spent all breaks just like me, staying in the classroom or looking out the window or drawing something in her green notebook. Okay, basically me then.
Здравствуй.
Hello. I turned red and pretended I was studying the pattern on the wooden floor.
Круто ты ему врезал.
Okay. It was cool the way you hit him. Oh god, we already got appreciation. Jesus.
Это вышло случайно.
It was just an accident, almost. I started shoving books into my backpack to occupy myself with something.
Вроде Семен раньше таким не был.
Simon wasn't like that before.
Он к нам недавно перевелся.
He also transferred here just recently.
Бабушка мне его по секрету сказала, что он словно взбесился.
His grandma told me that it almost felt like he went mad.
Семена даже старшеклассники побаиваются.
She said that most of the seniors fear Simeon. Did you know?
А ты вот молодец.
Like even seniors. We are not, but even they. But you're different.
Не струсил.
You're brave.
Угу.
I mumbled in reply. Yeah, right. What a hero. A hero that's been... What the freak? The most top 2 romantic anime moments. A hero that's been standing in the hallway for half an hour to avoid a beating. The girl looked at me with her clear identifies.
А ты за рекой живешь?
Do you live over the river?
В том деревянном
In that
доме?
wooden house?
Ну да.
Yeah.
Там, наверное, страшно.
Must be scary living there.
Да еще через лес идти.
And you also have to cross the forest.
Я бы так не смогла.
I wouldn't be able to do that. I shivered at the mention of the forest. I thought of intertwining branches, of the snake-like trail, of the endless darkness that spreads like mold among the crooked trees, and conjured up a blunted light.
Да не так уж там и
It's
страшно.
not that scary.
А что тебя так
What's
пугает?
so scary about it for you? She smiled after a brief pause, as if brushing off a daydream.
Да так. Ничего.
Well, actually, never mind.
Меня, кстати, Полина зовут.
My name is Polina, by the way.
А меня Антон.
And I'm Anton.
Ну, это я
I
знаю.
already know that.
Слушай,
Hey, Антон.
Антон,
She stumbled as if trying to decide whether she should continue.
а что ты делаешь после
What
школы?
are you doing after school? My chest felt prickly after her innocent question, yet somehow it felt pleasant.
Ничего такого.
Nothing much. I stopped mid-sentence. What is happening? Alisa's predatory smile flashed in front of my eyes. The playful eyes in the slits of her mask were probably just a product of my imagination, though. What if that fox girl is waiting for me after school? Or was it another of her weird jokes? I wonder if she's hiding a big red tail under her coat. I suddenly got covered with beads of sweat like after a physical education class. I wanted to take a shower, as if just thinking of the fox girl made me dirty, lured me into the forests of praise.
У меня сейчас занятие, скрипка, а потом я свободна.
I have a violin lesson and then I'll be free.
Дедушка мне репетитора нанял.
My grandma hired a private tutor.
Наш учитель музыки, он же скрипач.
Our-
А здесь, в поселке, ему некому преподавать.
Our music teacher is a violinist and he doesn't have anyone to teach here except for me. She waved her free hand in the air, imitating the movement of a bow on violin strings. I could almost hear the music. It chased Alisa out of my head. Oh my god, what a dude. Like, the first day at school and he already got 3 girls around him. I looked at Paulina's lips, catching her every word, stunned from the unusual sensations. They were warm, soothing. Is that still a horror game? Excuse me? And tingly. I felt like a gnat compared to those feelings. They surely couldn't fit inside me.
Тут говорят, что у нас в поселке маньяк завелся.
They say there is a serial killer on the loose in the village.
Раньше со школы меня всегда дедушка забирал, но в последнее время ему не здоровится.
Normally, Grandpa would escort me home from school, but he's been sick lately. I snuck a glance at Vova's photo. He looks so evil here for some reason. His eyeballs were studying me, his lips were wearing black lipstick. Just like a portrait on a gravestone.
Ты не подумай, я не трусишка,
I mean,
просто...
I'm not a coward, it's just...
Просто мне кажется, что с тобой будет безопаснее.
I think I'll be safer together with you. Yeah, I punched a dude. I can definitely punch a serial killer in the dick, and also I can run away.
Антон,
Will you go home with me,
сможешь
Anton?
проводить меня до дома?
There it was. Finally, everything that I read about in adventure books, everything that I dreamed of, was seeping into my life. A mysterious crime, a beautiful stranger, and a heroic duel. A duel! Thinking of Simeon instantly sobered me up, returned me back to earth, and started shaking under my feet like the deck of a ship. If only I could rise to the occasion in front of Paulina, because no matter how brave I was trying to act, it was obvious for both of us that I won't stand a chance against a big guy like him. And him knocking me out won't even be the worst of it. The worst part is that Paulina will see all of that. And she'll laugh at me like everybody else. Now I don't need anybody to see me in such a shameful state.
Сегодня вряд ли получится.
I doubt I'll be able to
Ты же
today.
знаешь, Семен, скорее всего, караулит на школьном дворе.
You know, Simeon is waiting for me
Лучше
outside.
мне с ним разобраться лично, по-мужски.
I need to deal him one-on-one like a man.
Глупости
Nonsense.
какие.
Paulina brushed some hair off her forehead, and I sensed a big blackberry aroma. Paulina was like water when you were thirsty. You gulped it down greedily, but you could never get enough. I remember the summer evenings and the countryside, the fires, pungent smoke, the berries hanging over our fence from the neighbors, and a soft cover of pine needles under my soles. Those few peaceful days when I felt completely safe. My mom resting in the hammock, my dad putting meat in the skewers. Could have I foreseen the upcoming catastrophe in the crackle of the coals, in our laughter, in that fleeting smell of July? Such a romantic, jeez. Could I have seen how fragile that world was?
Думаешь, этот дикарь будет честно драться?
Do you really think that Savage will give you a fair fight?
Со своими дружками набросится всем скопом, опомниться даже не дадут.
He'll just swarm you with his friends without giving a chance to catch a breath. Paulina suddenly flashed me a cunning smile.
Но если мы пойдем вместе, это их ошарашит.
But if we go together, they'll be put off.
Я же не только первая скрипка на деревне. Я ведь еще и девочка.
I'm not the only first violin of this village, I'm also a girl.
Слышала от знакомого хулигана, что он никогда не нападает на кого-то в присутствии девушки.
I've heard from a delinquent that I know that he'll never attack someone when there is a girl around.
Представляешь, у них кодекс чести такой.
Can you imagine they have this weird code of honor? A delinquent, you know? I replied, worried. Is he better than me? Oh my god. Taller, more handsome. What the heck is happening, guys?
Ой, мне на улицу пора.
I wanted a horror game. Horror game. Oh, I'm not gonna, whine about that. Still nice. Have to go to music class. She made a couple of steps and stopped. Amazing. Polina didn't look like those beauties from magazine posters or the actresses from the movies. But in the flickering light of the ceiling lamps, she looked prettier than all of them.
А ты играешь на чем-нибудь?
Can you play anything? My parents bought me a guitar a couple of years ago. I immediately remember my meager attempts at making music. Change, we're all waiting for change. Tsoy's song echoed my thoughts and my desire to change something. Tsoi is a very famous singer. Yeah, in a band Kino. Kino, it's like basically a movie. Their hit song Перемен, Changes, is one of the most popular rock tracks of the new Russian era. Died in a car accident. Yeah, and after he died in a car accident, people started to say and write everywhere that Tsoi жив, like Tsoi is alive. Meaning, well, I can't be 100% sure, maybe there is like other meaning to that, but as I understood it, that they meant that he's like alive in our hearts, because he had like a very great impact on Russian culture. So they would say that he's still alive in our heart and in the songs. So like you could see this everywhere, like Tsoi жив, Tsoi is alive, everywhere. That guitar got lost somewhere, as if refusing to move to the old school near the forest. I think my parents gave it away to someone that needed it more.
Увы, не играй.
I don't, sadly. A pity.
Жалко. Ну ладно,
Oh
я
well,
побежала.
I'll be going.
Пока!
Deuces! The girl's shout was picked up by the loud echo. The sound of shoes spreading through the school hallways.
Пока!
Bye! I wasn't sure if Polina heard me. I looked out the window again. The schoolyard was empty, just a couple of grade schoolers throwing snowballs at each other. Nobody who looked like that hulking Semyon and his cronies. This gave me hope. What should I do? Polina could become my friend, the first one in the new place. And besides, she may be in real danger of meeting a killer, and I'll be her defender, her knight. Or another victim of the killer. Even though my inner voice was hesitant and whispered about running away from the killers lurking in the woods at night, Polina was worth the okay. But the red canyon fox was also intriguing. She promised me to help look for Vova, and that could get me a reward. A lot of money will almost guarantee the peace in my family. That's not true. Money cannot guarantee peace. Gifts for Olia. I imagine my sister happy like those girls who get prizes from in the first hour. Finest hour. TV host. Sergei Supon. When he crashed his snowmobile into a river pier. I don't know that. She'll be dancing with the famous singers, maybe a new popular boys band like Ivanushki International, yeah. Yeah, boy band. Why do you always say how they died? Glossary, why do you always say how people die? Because it's a horror game? Yeah, you can read that. There is like how they died. Mom and dad hugging each other in the Ostankino pavilion. And then all of us going to Disneyland in Paris, right? Oh, look at her. Oh, there is a choice. Well, let's look at all the stuff and then... A zinc bucket that somebody left with a rack on the bottom of it was filled to the brim with murky tap water. It reeked of salty chemicals and the stench was so intense that I felt sick. I staggered away from it, praying that I won't follow the example of the person who was on the cleaning duty. Semyon? Turn me around and I'll tell you who's stupid. I bet something offensive is written on the other side. I wonder how long will Semyon keep trying. Would Semyon keep turning it around if it fell into his hands? Somebody left their school shoes on the windowsill. Judging from their size, they belong to a boy my age. Is that it? Okay, we need to save. Okay guys, so I looked into Steam Achievements and Steam Achievements said that it's both of these options are dates and we will either date Polina or date Alisa, so it's not even. But the name of the Polina's achievement is Nightly Duties, and the name of Alisa's achievement is Adventure. And we're all about that adventure, right? And mystery. I'm here for a horror game. I'm here for adventure, mystery, and the freaking woods. So I'm sorry, Polina, you're cute and beautiful, but deuces. After closing my backpack, I ran down the steps. Am I gonna regret that? Am I gonna regret that? I am gonna regret that, right? Scanned my surroundings through the window in the main hall. Nobody suspicious inside. The school doors creaked. The sound was similar to the music from a thriller, a high note that comes before an intense scene. Ran around the school corner, trying not to catch anyone's attention. The smell of pastry and burnt sugar wafted through the school cafeteria. I froze when I saw a silhouette in the second floor window. It must be Polina, gliding with a bow on violin strings with her head slightly tilted to the side. I wish I could hear the melody she played, and Polina looked more like a dark outline on a yellow sheet of a window. I dragged my feet forward. Oh, look at that! Soy is alive. Just what I said before to you. That's the thing. Soy is alive. Soy жив. Hey man! Iki, yaki. Biasha was here. The net on the football goal on the yard was slaughtered in the wind. It hurled small white whirlwinds through the field. Somewhere nearby, an invisible tractor was humming, scaring away the crowd of cawing birds. The hum of its engine sounded like the howls of hungry beasts that chased me through the snowy desert. Alice and her scary mask also came to mind. Right now, in the light of day, it was really hard to believe she was real. What did she say back then? In the backyard near the hangman. What did she mean by that? She meant that. Icky. I used to wrench him on the cigarette butts. I hope somebody just needed an insulin shot. Excuse me? The silhouette turned around the corner and walked deeper into the dead end, leaving cigarette smokes in its wake. It was an adult, a teacher maybe? Yep. I looked at the wall. There was a hangman down the black line made of resin. Someone was playing here. Something was scribbled on the both sides of the man. Escape, fear, truth. Come closer, sweetheart. Yeah. It took me a while to realize where the sound was coming from. My eyes darted back and forth looking at the empty cul-de-sac. Cul-de-sac. I think it's it should be written in a different manner because it's a French. This word has French origins and basically means the butt of a bug. And the butt is written a bit differently, but I know that it's funny because when I just learned that it's actually like bug's butt, I was like, what? What? Are you out of your mind, French people? You know? And yeah, it was kind of funny. At the school's backyard, at the windows that reflected sunlight and at the snow. Well, one of the snow piles started trembling like a volcano before it erupted. Give me your heart. Okay, that was already worth it. In the blink of an eye, the white crust crumbled and the fox jumped out of the snow. She made a gracious bow and joined the effect her appearance had on me. The silver of snow shined on her coat. I couldn't even imagine that thinking about girls with tails can be this. I don't know what to compare it to. Something infectious, toxically sweet. Fight back or your heart is in my back. She giggled so enthusiastically that it forced me to smile. Oh, come on. Okay. That's amazing. Okay, I have no regrets. I quickly rolled the ball of snow and threw it at Elisa. She tried to dodge, but it was too late. A hit to the shoulder. Oh, yeah. Insolent boy. Yeah, that's me. The fox slowly backed down, trying to arm herself.
Ты хитер, да мы хитрей.
You're a sly, but I'm a
Ловок
fox.
ты, да мы ловчей.
I think out of the box. Her retribution was swift. A snowball arched its way above the snowy yard, and the ravens flying in the air. I wanted to duck, but slipped and fell to my knees. And while I was getting up, I caught a huge chunk of snow with my face, and it now burned from its freezing texture. I swore for everyone to hear from disappointment.
Блядь.
Using the words I hear in Sector Gaza's song on the cassettes I hid from my parents. Sector Gaza is another. He basically swore, you know that word. Sector Gaza is a group, rock band. My friends like listening to Sector Gaza. Okay, you can also see how they died. Amazing. If Dad hears this, he would have definitely gave me a good peeping. He had very low tolerance toward obscene words. Watch your profanity and always communicated in clean Russian. Clean
ладно
Russian? I haven't heard that like in years. Like never. Oh, come on.
Не больно же совсем.
It shouldn't hurt that much. She brushed off my hood as if to show compassion, took me by the elbow and helped me to get up. Carefully, with kindness and characteristic for a child, she took off my glasses, blew away the snowflakes that were stuck to them, and handed them back.
Вот так.
No,
Один-один. Тоша.
we're even, Tosha. Okay, if this is actually a mask, even though it looks, interesting, right? Does her eyes look like... Only people who were close to me called me that. And I haven't even seen her real face, didn't even know her last name, what class she was from, and if she had a real tail under her coat.
Желаешь отыграться?
Want to get ahead?
Мы хотели поискать Вову,
You're
помнишь?
going to look for Vova, remember?
Лучше поторопиться.
We'd
а то
better
меня родители
hurry
станут искать.
before my parents start looking for me. Fox let out a lazy yawn.
Родители.
Parents,
Как
don't be so
скучно.
boring.
Давай чуть-чуть
Let's
поиграем.
play for a bit. You're
Всё равно
always
тебе дома
bored at
тоскливо.
home anyway.
А ты откуда знаешь?
And how do you know that?
Тоже мне тайна.
It's not even a
Со
secret.
взрослыми да в четырех стенах. Тоска смертная.
It's always way too
Всегда.
boring being locked up in a house full of adults.
У меня
Always.
от стены взрослых нервный тик.
I
Ну
get
вот.
all jittery from both houses and parents, see? Her furry fox brow started twitching. I faked a laugh in reply because it took too long to decide. I don't know why I'm so itchy, I'm sorry. So long to decide if being able to move parts of her mask like that was genuinely funny or not.
Ну же, Тоша.
Come on,
решайся.
Tosha, don't be scared.
Я же вижу, ты хочешь поиграть.
I can see you want to play.
Если
And if you win?
победишь,
The fox girl got dangerously close to me and stood on her tiptoes, almost touching my face with her rough little nose. Playful fires danced deep in her eyes. Her smell was nice, berries, and something else almost too sweet for comfort. Maybe that's what independence and freedom smelled like. I mean, the kind where all you have to do in your life is run wild and eat sweets. Her whisper poured into my ear like scalding hot water.
если победишь, буду твоим провожатым.
If you win, I'll be your guide.
Поверь, мне есть что тебе показать.
Believe me, I have lots of things to show you.
Найдем твоего Вову.
You'll surely find your Wova for one. I feel as if a giant invisible spring bent inside me. My tummy hurt, but the sensation was somehow not exactly unpleasant. It was so weird. I just had a conversation with Polina and now Alisa was going to drag me along with her. I felt like my mind was becoming blurry, splitting in two, like those gravestones on the TV record.
А если проиграю?
And what if I lose?
Душу из тебя выцарапаю,
Ау.
неженка.
I'll claw out your soul, softie.
Давай,
Come on, let's go. She burst out laughing, swept the snow underneath her feet with the hem of her long coat and ran toward the road which we used to come here in the morning. Her promise, that sounded almost like a threat, hypnotized me. I bent down and scooped up some snow. I wish I had a device that could tell whether Elisa was joking or being serious, or is there always a third option with people like her? Between her jokes, her laughter, and her hot breath in my ear, I wanted to win, to punish her for the lightness and freedom she possessed. that was clearly too much for an average girl. When I, on the other hand, was possessed, or rather intoxicated by the thirst for adventure, by my curiosity, just like that. Just like that time when I ate the cherries from mom's nalivka and was lying down with my eyes closed while the bed was spinning underneath me. A sweet alcoholic drink made from fruits and berries. Yeah, basically berry white vodka. I spat, then cleaned my lips. Do you want to play, little fox? Well then, let's play. I armed myself with a snowball and chased the fleeing fox girl. Oh, look, now you look happy. I saw a familiar street with wooden posts that didn't look scary anymore. They were just logs covered in snow. If I were to shout now, the guard dogs would start barking and their owners would peek out of their windows. Alice's small silhouette was mocking me from far away, so it was useless to try hitting her with a snowball for now, a waste of ammunition. Birches, broken by the cold, peeked out along the clean road. Look how this birch looks. It's not even a birch. What? Where do you see at least one birch, guys? Like, at least one birch. A giant snow pile towered near one of the trees. Wait, maybe I misunderstand the word birch. Maybe I just don't know what it means. No? I know exactly what it means. Okay, let's not be nitpicky. Sorry for me being nitpicky. I see spruces, if that's how it's called, and aspens, but I'm not sure. A giant snow pile towered near one of the trees. This was probably the place where the tractor brought all the snow from the village. A whole family of foxes would fit in such a pile. No, I thought there isn't any other fox. Alyssa was already too much. My second morning acquaintance was running around near the edge of the forest, the stray dog with the mangy tail. She sniffed around, marked the naked blackcurrant bush, and ran toward the exit. Next, oh god. Alyssa showered up. Alyssa showed up. She didn't shower. Showed up from under the hill. Жулька, follow me, girl. The dog ears perked up. It barked in agreement and followed the girl's lead. We ran farther and farther, exchanging snowballs, laughing and stumbling. The winter forest rose in front of us, reaching for the low clouds with its treetops. We were at the edge of its shadows, bony and almost material. The fox hid behind the thick pine. Clearly trying to get close to me and shove some snow under my collar. It was a good plan, but Julka, who was running circles around her, gave away her position, broke off a dry branch, and decided to act even trickier. I put my head on it and brought it to the side of the pine. I'll make her think it's my head. I bit my lip to stop myself from laughing, then jumped out from the other side and threw a point-blank snowball. Alyssa probably cracked my plan right away, but still let me win 3-1. Was wounded in the leg, and she got shot in the chest and the stomach, losing imaginary blood in front of my eyes. Pleading for mercy while also choking from laughter. Please, mercy. I'm dying.
Все, живи!
Okay, I'll let you leave.
Спасибо, добрый рыцарь.
Thank you, valiant knight. She pretended to bow to me, then grabbed 2 full handfuls of snow and, like a dying warrior, threw them my way in last-ditch effort. I dodged her attack easily, laughing uncontrollably and being mad at the same time. I finished her with 2 precise shots.
Живи.
He let me leave, huh?
Научил бы меня жить, раз умный такой.
Teach me how to do it if you're so smart.
Молчи, ты умерла уже!
Shut up, you're already
Тоже
dead.
мне помеха.
When did that stop
Давай
me?
сыграем
Let's play
кое-что
something more
такое
interesting.
интересное.
She made a blind throw and dashed behind the trees.
Раз, два, прилети, сова.
1, 2, time to play with you. She actually said that the owl is going to come.
3, 4, 5.
Oh.
Время поиграть.
3, 4, 5, the owl will arrive. Yeah, in Russian she said 3, 4, 5. It's time to play. I hesitantly moved toward the windfall.
6, да, 6. Дыбом волчья шерсть.
6 on end, the wolf's grey fur will stand. I thought I saw a real tail glide across the bushes. As if on a leash, I rushed to the intervened branches that helped Alyssa hide. I had to move them, tear them off like spiderweb. Branches sprang back in my face, but it felt like they were caressing my cheeks instead of hitting them. I was sweaty but still had a lot of stamina left. I'll make sure to catch you, little fox. Alyssa's voice wandered behind the windfall.
7, 8, бьем копытом озимь!
7, 8 got you on my plate. Seems like I underestimated you.
Думала, ты просто мальчик.
I thought you were just a boy. Confident that she was behind the dry pine, I rushed to intercept her, but the local acoustics tricked me. Her voice was already echoing from the other side.
Ты зайчик!
And you're a bunny!
Шустренький, хорошенький!
So nimble, so cute! A snowball flew at me from the shadows, whistling past my
Я
ear.
тебе дам, зайчик.
I'll show you a bunny.
Мне зайчика дай!
Yeah, do that, show me. The bright fur coat of a fox flashed near a rotten stump. I rushed there, jumping over a hole in the earth.
Зайчик, выходи скорей! Мясом накорми зверей!
The fur color that flashed from every tree was the most important thing in the world for me. She said, Bunny, come out, and feed the animals with your meat, by the way. My lips started trembling as if I was a hound chasing its prey. One jump and the fox was in my embrace, so smooth, so desirable.
Ой, все, ты победил!
You win. She leaned against the scratchy bark and started puffing.
Пожалуйста, давай немного отдохнем.
Let's have a break.
Ты слишком быстрый, слишком сильный, лакомый, слишком.
You're too fast, too strong, too tasty. Satisfied, I put my hands on my sides, waiting for the spoils of war from the defeated girl. But what I got instead was a sly snowball in my smug face. Cunning Fox ran away, roaring with laughter, but I wasn't even mad about it. I needed to catch up to Alyssa, to tackle and subdue her, tear off her mask and see everything.
Бедный зайчик,
Poor little bunny jumps around
возле мокрых сосен.
in the wet pine cones,
Страшно в лапы волку, серому попасть.
afraid of getting eaten by the big grey wolf.
Думает о лете, прижимает уши.
Thinking of hot summer, keeping his ears low.
На небо косится, небо не видать.
Sneaking glances at the hidden sky that you cannot see. Okay. The sky really did disappear under the trees, moved using Julika's barks as a guidance since she was following her owner closely. I was catching up. The same trail I imagined at school was snaking under my feet. It turned out that running like there is no tomorrow was so easy. Faster, higher, faster. I felt like there was a well of untapped power inside me and I drew from it. My muscles were buzzing, my lungs felt bigger and I felt much stronger overall. When my vision became sharper, I saw every icy branch, every dent in the bark. Something vivid was lying near the bushes, a piece of clothing, another colorful spot to the right. Alyssa was losing her clothes on the run, like shedding her skin. Excited to no end, I took off my mittens with my teeth. I'll get naked and feel the bean to the last drop. Faster. I reached out to take off my hat to throw away everything that stopped me from running wild in this endless forest. The backpack slowed me down, so I threw it in the snow along with the pants that were inside, with all the notebooks, all of my drawings, on the sideliness and the dinosaur for Oля. Oля! Suddenly a clear picture appeared in my mind. My sister standing still near the window, basking in the setting sun. Her small palms are pressed against the glass, leaving marks after warming it up. She could have warmed up the whole world like that. She's looking at the taiga, repeating my name.
Тоша!
I stopped, took a breath, and realized how rash and stupid I was trying to undress in the middle of a forest while chasing a fox. I returned to get the backpack. I dropped as if it was a part of my being. Once more, I remembered how much my sister hated being left alone, how she begged me to come home faster. What kind of a brother am I? Running in the forest, I used to scare my sister with. running in the same forest I used to scare my sister with. I'm having fun while she's not even allowed out of the front door. She's trapped in a cage watching the same cartoons over and over.
Тоша!
Да, Оля.
Yeah, Оля?
Тоша, а куда?
Where are you?
Куда так скачешь, чмошник?
Okay, game. Sometimes, where are you hopping to? And here's it would be here's, she said, Moran. From the darkness behind the pines, just like cavemen from their cave, appeared smirking Simeon with a bunch of his cronies.
Ну, здорово, Антошка.
Yo, Antoshka!
Не вышло сдрыснуть, да?
Thought we could slip away.
Очкарик, выпив фарик на...
Catch this for ice. They surrounded me like a carnivorous pride, making me step back. The smell of sweat and tobacco attacked my nostrils. The inside of my mouth felt salty, as if I licked a battery.
Алиса!
Alisa. The name of my companion turned into a stifled cough. The pines were swaying back and forth like solemn guardians. I was frantically looking everywhere. I dreamt of fighting that fox among the trees, expected her to come to my rescue, but only the wind replied to my pleas.
Где Алиса?
Where is Alisa?
Что вы с ней сделали?
What did you do to her? I shuddered upon hearing my voice. It sounded unnatural, primal, and scary.
Какая еще Алиса?
Who the freak is Alisa?
У тебя чё, кукуха поехал?
He didn't even swear in Russia. She just said, "What, Alisa?" That's it. Did you hit your head?
Не ссы, ща вмиг вылечим.
Whatever, it'll fix you right up. The fat spat through the gap in his teeth and shouted me so hard that I hit my back against the tree.
Ну как, полегчало?
So, feeling better now? It can't be. Did Alisa really lure me into these traps to these bastards? No, I can't believe this.
Глядите-ка, пацаны, а здесь он не такой борзый, как в
Looky
школе.
here, guys. He's not so brave here compared to the school.
Вылитый терпиловна.
A total vimpa.
Сука приезжая, не на того руку поднял.
You freaked up with the wrong guy transfer. Okay, he said you, a transferred bitch, messed up with the wrong dude. Simeon was moving toward me, reading. Oh my god, why was it so difficult for me? His fist. In that moment, the other delinquent in track pants made a loud whistle, and the hulking boy lowered his hand. It was unexpected. It seems like Baburin wasn't the leader of this gang. In reality, they were all listening to the boy who was looking like a small carnivorous animal with very strong and sharp teeth. Probably decided to have some fun at my expense first.
Слышь, Гондон Батькович.
Yeah, remember what I said about them being kind of... Yeah,
Это что ли твоя
Is this
Алиса?
your Alisa? Only then I noticed Julka beside my legs, trembling from the cold. Snow plastered all over her fur. The delinquent squatted in front of the dog and beckoned her with his hand.
Ой ты, батюшки.
Oh my.
Алиса, ко мне, сучка блохастая.
Come here, you flea-ridden breech. The other let out nasty laughs. The dog's ear perked up and she started carefully moving closer.
Иди сюда.
Yeah, come here.
Иди, дам кое-чего.
I've got something for you. Oh! The dog didn't even have a chance to sniff him when his animal abuser caught it by the ear and kicked it right under the tail so hard it flew into the nearest snow pile, squealing. The whole gang burst out laughing and my heart got encrusted in ice. Even the birds that were perching up on the tree branches let out frightened coughs. At the edge of my vision, I saw something flash in the illusory twilight of the sleeping forest. Or were that just the bushes moving their icy branches under the wind's influence?
Ромка, она ж больше срать не сможет.
It won't be able... Yeah, basically...
Давай теперь я.
Now it's my turn, okay?
Второй раз ебану минус на минус даст плюс.
Okay, now he said... Okay, 2 negatives will make a positive. But the stray was already nowhere to be seen.
Чего ты, баран?
What, are you an idiot?
Толкуй его на очкарику, где его место.
Go and show the Four Eyes his
Только
place.
так, чтобы он понял.
In a way he'll understand.
Ага, за ним кофякна.
Yeah, he owes you.
Этот очкарик тебе при всем классе всек.
The swim backed in front of the whole class.
Да без Б.
Sure thing. Semyon brought a sizable. God damn it, what's wrong with me? A signet ring up to my face with some geometric shaped card in it.
Ща, парашник, я тебе этой печаткой так заряжу. Клеймо на всю жизнь останется.
Some geometric shape, it's a romb. I mean, in a moment I'll hit you so hard, it'll leave a mark for the rest of your life. Where did all of my inner strength and bravery go?
Стой!
A wheezy whisper left my lips. Stop, and my hand tilted forward, hitting Simon's fist. Red sparks flew from my eyes.
Бяша, подсоби.
Give me a hand. Simon gave me a rough push toward the bastard with the slanting eyes, and he tripped me. I fell and hit the sharp crust of ice, and the father stepped on my hand, stopping me from getting up. A painful groan has left my throat.
Слыхали, как заныл?
Did you hear him whimper?
А ты случаем не педик?
Is he actually... I started to lose breath from anger and resentment. The pain was growing. My ear was hot and pulsating pain was shooting through it, like it was cut off and a ball of nettle was sewn in its place.
Че молчишь, Антошка?
Why so silent, Antoshka?
Отвечай, ты педик?
Come on, tell us. At this moment, I felt unbridled rage, the amalgamation of my anger. Like this bronze ink, it rose from the depth of my mind, filling all my thoughts.
Глория!
Morans,
Знаете,
did you
что
know
мой
that my dad...
отец-
То-то педик.
Simon burst out laughing. This became the last straw. Fear and anger were grappling inside me like
Он
mad
айкидо
dogs.
занимался. Поняли?
He knows like Ido, got it?
Он еще воевал.
And he's a vet.
Таких, как вы, с закрытыми глазами убивает.
He'll kill the likes of you with his eyes
Я только
closed.
слово скажу, он...
One word from me and he'll... Romka lifted up his arm, stomping from my torrent of lies and made a couple of steps forward. Simon slowly backed off, giving me an opportunity to stand up. Did he believe me? Or was he confused by my face and that was twisted by rage?
Воевал, говоришь?
A vet, you say?
Мой батя тоже воевал.
My dad also fought in the war.
В Афгане.
In Afghan.
А твой?
And yours?
И мой.
Mine too.
Да, и в
Oh,
каких
really?
войсках,
And what
интересно?
forces did he serve in? I stumbled, my fear got my rage by the throat and spilled its blood.
Да он фуфло гонит, Ромка.
He's full of scheiße, Romka.
Бля, будуна.
Думал, меня так просто развести?
Did you think it's so easy to trick me?
Я тебя, сучонка, насквозь вижу.
I can see through all your lies, you little breach. There was a nasty smile on his face now. This didn't bode well for me.
Ты сам себе приговор
Well,
подписал.
You've asked for this. A
В
teacher,
школе тебя училка спасла. Ну а теперь все.
a teacher saved you at school, but here,
Хана
you're
тебе.
done.
Во-во.
That's right.
Давай, Антошка.
Pray
Молись, чтобы твой труп по весне нашли, бля.
That they find your dead body come spring.
Сидел бы ниже травы, был бы целочкой.
If only you stayed silent, wouldn't have lost a hair.
Жирного стукнул, одно дело.
Hitting Fatso is one thing,
Но про Афган пиздеть, где мой батя под пулями. Долг интернациональный. В Даште Марго, блядь.
but freaking around with stuff like Afghan, where my dad spent time under fire or on international duty, is yeah, plane of death in freaking, you know, this place.
Сёма, ушатай-ка его.
Give him a good pounding, Сёма. The delinquents closed in on me again, and I ended up in front of Simeon. Blood was pumping in my temples. The branches were swaying back and forth as if whispering something, giving me hope. I gritted my teeth, fighting the thought that I looked silly, and took a boxing stance I often saw in the movies.
Хера ты, Майк Тайсон.
What are you, freaking Mike Tyson? That was my first ever fight. I'll remember it for the rest of my life if I don't kick the bucket, of course. At the edge of my vision, I noticed the darkness around us right again, as if someone was walking through it back and forth. Since Roma's claws grabbed my backpack.
Манатки, Антошка.
Give me your shoot, Tommy.
Махаться мешает.
It'll get in the way. I was about to refuse, not wanting to cooperate with the bastard, but then he fished a butterfly knife out of his pocket with one smooth motion and put its blade to my neck after spinning it.
Слышь, Фрей, расслабься, а то больно будет.
Hey, easy buddy, I can make it painful. I let out a cloud of steam instead of words. Romka pulled with all his might and my backpack ended up in his hands, calm and relaxed. An insidious smile on his face, he looked into my
Ты
backpack.
от нас что-то скрываешь, да?
Are you hiding something from us?
У меня в школе какая-то крыса сменку подрезала.
Some rat stole my shoes.
Ща погляди,
Let's see
может
if
это
it
был...
was you. And what's this? Romka gave me a dubious smile.
Так,
So what do we have here? My text and notebooks fell in snow. He was holding my backpack in one hand and something weird in his other hand. It looked like a mask. Oh, bunny mask. Roma lifted it high as if showing to someone else, to someone in the treetops in the twilight among the trees. An old bunny mask. Long worn out ears, barely visible nose and whiskers, mangy fur on the sides. Where did it come from? Who put it there? Simon laughed.
Новый год уже прошел,
It's way
мудила.
past New Year's, Morin.
Или ты реально поехавший?
Or are you really a loony?
Это не мое.
It's not mine.
Как не твое,
How
В
come
твоем
it's not?
портфеле лежала она.
It was in your backpack. Rama was watching the scene unfold with an evil smile on his face.
А знаешь что?
You know what? Put
Надевай.
it on.
Зачем?
Why?
Надевай,
Because I'm
говорю.
telling you to.
Попрыгаешь перед нами.
You hop like a bunny for us.
Давай, давай.
Yeah, come on.
Или без штанов домой пойдешь на.
Or we'll leave you pantless, huh? Anything but this. What if someone from our class will pass by?
Надену.
I won't.
Сёма,
Soma put it
Надень-ка
on
на него.
him.
Хе.
Pasha rushed through his friend's side and took the worn-out mask from him with a buffoonish bow. Then he passed it to Simeon, who was already rubbing his hands in anticipation. I looked around the pine woods as if wanting for help, as is the shadows that wreathed around us would take pity on me and take my side. Branches looked like arms twisted in unusual angles. The blackened bark was their charred skin, and the darkness was the smoke they produced. I can't run, won't get away, they'll catch me. And then...
только учти, Сёма,
Hey, Soma,
если он скакать не станет, ты сам за него поскачешь.
if he won't hop, he'll take his place, got it?
Этот чмошник и не станет.
That piece of shoot won't?
Да погляди на него, он же дурик конченый.
Just look at him, he's a total loony.
Этот дурик тебе уже раз в жбан зарядил.
This loony has already smacked you in the face once.
Ромка прав.
Romka's right.
Давай, толстый.
Come on, Fatso.
Восстанавливай авторитетно.
Assert your freaking dominance. Press like to assert dominance.
Или сам у нас запрыгаешь так, что
Or we'll
тетя
make you
отцепится.
hope so hard your tits will fall off. He must indeed be scared of Romka. Simon swore silently and glared at me.
Вот,
Here,
это чтобы
Я
маска хорошо налезла.
fit better this way. He hurled a huge portion of speed on it inside of the plastic magnifier and put it close to mine. Speed looked like a squashed spider. Romka's face twisted, he spasmed like a beast, but like he wanted to tell Simon something, but then he suddenly stopped. Simon was still close by, with this disgusting smirk on his face and a terrible smell coming from his mouth.
Надевай, быра!
Put it on, fast, or you're
Отдулай
dead.
его.
This mask almost looked even more disgusting now, yet despite everything, I felt like it was a chance for salvation. It could become my second skin. If only I was to put it on, if only I put my face against its bumpy surface, and the fur was glitter while the ears will come alive. The fur will glitter. I just need to put it on and Simeon and his friends will be gone forever. Okay, we are not putting it in. For some reason, Romka's disappointment with Simeon made me feel brave. Something was wrong in their crew, some old disagreement. I should cut this old wound open. I need to get into their heads, right into their skulls, their warm brains. You know what, Simeon? My own voice, smooth and determined, was a huge surprise. I stepped forward and calmly proclaimed,
Иди нахуй.
"Fuck off." There you go, Anton! It felt like the world was paused for a moment, and then the time continued its flow. Simeon's pupils widened, the mask fell out of his meaty hands. He took a little while to process what was happening. What was happening with a stunned look on his face, as if he was trying to resolve a difficult math problem. The answer he got made him mad, judging by the bulging veins on his forehead.
Ага.
The other just observed the scene silently, waiting for the inevitable payback.
Ты
You?
труп!
You're dead. His voice made the icy snow fall from the nearby branches. Snowfall. It fell with a sound that resembled a melodic laugh. And then I heard whispers from the treetops, from the holes in the ground, from the forest bare caves. As if Alisa was in one of the snow piles, like a prompter in his booth, and was trying to get through to me. With no sign of fear, rather with a tingle of playful rage. That's how this low hum sounded to me. I started into the clearing between the trees, stared into the clearing between the trees. An orange spot flashed there. A fox, an absolutely regular fox, stepped out of the bushes. I blinked in bewilderment. The animal fell on its tummy and was staring back at me with its burning eyes. Its furry tail was sweeping snow left and right, raising the white
На
powder.
меня смотри, падла!
Look at me, Bridge. I was still looking past him at the fox that was smiling at me. She grinned with all her teeth while digging a hole in the snow pile, moving her paws as if dancing. Her sharp face was covered in snow, her whiskers were trembling. The fox put her face to the ground. The silvery plates of her eyes were full of liquid silver. I returned my gaze to Simeon's twisted face. He was growling something unintelligible. The fox backpedaled and disappeared into the darkness, and the forest released a breath of whisper at me. Tell the pig to shut up. I slapped my own cheek to chase away the unfamiliar voice, but the meaning of his message still lingered in my subconsciousness. This hint was my chance. I stared intensely at the nose of Simeon, who was almost oinking from anger, and spelled out,
Заткнись, свинья!
"Shut up, pig." Simeon looked paralyzed, as if the medium Alan Chuma hypnotized him, stripped him out of his will. Yeah, you can read that. CV personality, okay. I felt the aftertaste of Alisa's gum in my mouth. Berries. It felt like I've pulled a card from a greasy deck and it turned out to be a trump. My brain was at its limit. Paulina's worried about Simeon getting worse since he moved here flashed in front of my eyes, like subtitles in a movie. All the pieces fell in place. My joker went flying into his flumpy face. I was picking slow on purpose, dragging out every syllable.
Есть у меня подозрение. Ты не просто так перевелся в новую школу.
I suspect that you had a reason to transfer to another school.
Сбежал, да?
You fled, right?
Как
Fled like
крыса
a rat. Oh god.
Потому что сверстники бывают жестокими с теми, кто не такой, как они.
Because kids can be cruel with those who are
С
different.
теми, кто толще их, например. Слабее.
Who's fatter or bigger than them.
И ты решил издеваться над другими, как издевались над тобой.
So you decided to bully others just like they bullied you. I saw Simeon's Adam's apple twitch like it was a pump action rifle getting reloaded.
Ты отыгрываешься
You're
за старые
trying
обиды.
to get payback for the old wounds.
Хочешь казаться тем, кем не являешься.
You want to pretend that you are different now.
Но знаешь, ничего не меняется по щелчку пальца.
But you know what? Nothing changes in the snap of a finger.
Знаешь, кем ты был?
Should I tell you who you were? The forest held its breath, listening in fascination.
Знаешь, кто ты есть?
Should I tell you who you still are? Guys.
Пацаны,
Всё как...
Biasha was about to come to his friend's aid, but Romka stopped him, whipping out his controlling look. What? Biasha turned around and put his hands in his pockets.
Продолжай, Тоха.
Go on, Toha. Romka's words ricocheted from the rough trunks.
Знаешь, кем ты будешь всегда?
Should I tell you who you always be? Simon looked around helplessly.
Второе имя, настоящее имя, которое дали тебе одноклассники.
Your second name, the true name that your classmates gave you.
откуда?
Why do you? Romka and Biash looked at Simeon like he was their prey now. I even thought I saw them lick their parched lips. Oh my god, what is happening? Why do I like it so much? The game was also full of anticipation while jacking my scattered textbooks across the road.
Свинья!
A pig. My thunderous scream echoed through the forest. Trees and pitfalls liked it. The echo repeated it over and over, doubling, even tripling it. Romka grinned with all his teeth. Simeon's hands fell to his sides. His eyes became wet and I used disadvantage. Oh my god! I threw the strongest punch I could muster. Oh my god. No pain, no gain. Achievement unlocked. It was much stronger than the one in school. Rammed my fist into his scared face so hard it produced a crackling sound. His pimply cheek danced like jelly under my fist. Simeon let out a sigh and plopped on the icy road. He was touching the place where I hit him, still oblivious to what just happened and how did it come to this. While looking at him, I realized I was smiling. No, stop that. You're Aggie. When you do that. The fatso came back to his senses and threw himself at me with his face twisted in anger. But I dodged his charge quite easily after the great practice I had while playing with Alisa. Ew, is that a poop? He fell into the snow and landed right on a pile of dog feces. This made him squeal in
Ай,
agony.
красава, Тоха!
Attaboy, Toha.
Думал, ты сосунок, а он как жердяй удел.
I thought you were a Vim, but you've given the Fats a good whooping. Simeon started sobbing after he realized the direness of his situation.
Сука! Че я бабушке теперь
What will I
скажу?
say to
Она
Grandma?
меня убьет, когда увидит.
She'll kill me when she sees this.
Чего ты там скулишь?
What are you whining
Тебя
about?
с параши не слышно.
Get your head out. No, he said, I can't hear you over the like over the poop, you know? Like over the feces. Simeon's futile attempts at cleaning his coat caused a fit of giddiness from Biasha. I also smiled, angrily twisted my lips.
Мастёвина!
Yeah.
А ну вставай, скачи, как зайчик.
What? The North? Is that the company that produces really good? I mean, at least I can't remember the exact name of the company that produces really good, you know, coats for the winter coats. Is that it? Something like that, right? I love them. Hey, get up and hop like a bunny.
Только желательно подальше, а то от
Just-
тебя уже дерьмом несет.
Stay away from us, you stink of scheiße. You. Oink! Frick you
Идите вы
guys.
все нахер!
His eyes, red from tears, stopped on me. I didn't even have the time to erase the smile from my face when Simeon lunged at me like a hawk and clawed at my face with his twisted fingers with gnawed fingernails. I threw a kick toward the layer of fat under the coat. In the same moment, the world became fuzzy, the black trees and the faces of my classmates all blurred.
А чё на это скажешь, сука?
How do you like that? He threw up a hand holding my glasses victoriously. But his triumph was short-lived. Two blurry silhouettes rushed forward, Soma's former friends. I heard the familiar sounds of someone being slapped around. This is against the rules as
Поступаешь, гнида!
S5. What? They're defending me now?
Гони линзы назад!
Give back the oculars now.
Дерись по понятиям!
Fight like a man, eh? Judging from Simon's sighting and grumbling, he didn't agree to his friend's terms.
Вы что
Вы чё? What a freak.
Ой, бля!
train-
Вы меня променяли!
Me for this piece of scheiße. Oh, oh.
Да пошли вы в жопу!
Freak you!
Тоже
Are
мне
we even
друзья!
friends anymore? A huge figure trembling in the snow barely managed to break out from the rain of punches and ran for the hills, dissolving into the twilight.
Завтра в школе тебя выцепим, хрюндель!
We'll get you at school tomorrow, Porky.
Точно, точно!
That's
До
right.
базара ответишь на...
You'll answer for this, eh?
Горло тебе перережу, слышишь?
I'll cut your throat, you hear me? Romka and Bash started throwing pieces of ice and fleeing Simeon, but they switched to hurling mockery.
Свинья!
The snow rustled. Two boys, clearly out of breath, approached me. I was finally able to make out their faces
Мои
clearly.
очки.
My glasses.
Блять.
Romka cursed under his breath.
Гондон этот стащил.
The freaker got him.
Зато мы ему всыпали одну сына!
Чё? What? Чё происходит? What the heck is happening? At least we whipped or wiped. I don't know. His yeah, not wiped. Whipped his eyes real good. Oh god.
Завтра вот с таким фуфелом припрется, отвечаю!
He'll come to school with a shiner this big. Dasha let out a throaty laugh. Hyenas in the Lion King, what they were. And we laugh like that.
Ну и дела.
Oh boy.
Тоха, ты без очков хоть что-то видишь?
Can you see without your glasses, Toha?
Немного.
A little bit. A hand holding a red rectangle protruded from the mist. Romka was offering me a cigarette.
Угощайся.
My treat. I squinted trying to make out the brand even though I didn't know anything about cigarettes. I haven't tried smoking yet and I didn't really want to start. I wonder if they will keep hanging out with me if I won't adopt all of their habits. Why do you want to hang out with them? I mean, you want to survive. After a moment of hesitation, I shook my head.
Спортсмен, что ли?
Into sports, huh?
А ты в глаза долбишься?
Are you blind or something?
Не видел, как он Семёна четко вмазал?
Did you see how he thrashed Simeon?
До базара ноль, Mortal Kombat на...
Real deal Mortal freaking combat, eh?
Тоха у нас Рокки Бальбоа.
Toha here is Rocky
Тогда
Balboa.
уж Иван Драго.
More like Ivan Drago.
Курим одну на двоих, гони
We'll
жигу.
split this one, give me a light. Romka pulled out a cigarette with his lips and Biasha scrambled to find a lighter inside his
Toha.
pockets.
Чё я сказать хотел?
So, Toha, back to what I was saying.
Не держи зла, брат.
Don't be mad,
Мы
bro.
тебя на вшивость проверяли.
You were just
А то
testing
очки
you.
эти, а еще и маска.
I mean, your glasses and this mask. Biasha lit a giant Tbilisi and Romka smacked his lips while taking a long puff of his
Меня,
cigarette.
кстати, Ромка зовут.
I'm Romka, by the way. What is happening? Oh my god! I don't know why I like this so much! He squeezed my hand so hard that my fingers hurt. His palms, full of dry, turned blisters, implied that he wasn't wearing a tracksuit for
Это
nothing.
вот Бяша.
And this is Biasha.
Ты не очкуй.
Don't
Со
worry,
свиньей мы лично
we'll
пообщаемся.
have a talk with Porky. He let out a cloud of smoke on my face, which instantly made me cough.
Ага.
Yeah,
Пойду пока
I'll go
сумку соберу.
gather my stuff, it's getting dark. About to pick up my now empty backpack and look for its contents, hoping that my new bodies will disappear when I turn around. But they just stood there, passing cigarette back and forth. Two small silhouettes with a small light wandering between them, with the pine trunks as the backdrop. They were waiting for me to finish picking up my textbooks while whispering something to each other. Romka was the one talking most of the time, though Basha was... What's the freak? Top 5 anime... Epic anime comebacks! Basha was constantly sniffing with his runny nose and mumbling in agreement. And that moment I saw that old battered bunny mask from papier-mâché among the snow-covered notebooks. Its empty eye sockets could be filled with anything with any eyes, but this mask looked like it only wanted me. Where did it come from and why it was in my backpack? I picked up it with utmost care, as if it could bite off my finger at any moment. It was just a carnival mask with a huge frozen splat of saliva inside. Still, something felt wrong about it. Something was writhing inside it, underneath the crust of old newspapers. I could hear 1,000 of tiny bodies rustle in the trembling fur. Something was trying to chew its way out. Maggots!
Готов,
You
Тоха?
ready, Toha? Romka's voice pulled me out of my nightmarish delusion, and I threw the mask away in horror. Somewhere I won't be able to see it anymore. My innards were twisted from disgust, but I stood up, trying to not to show it. Whether those maggots were real or just one of my delusions, I didn't care. All of this was too much for a single day. I wanted to get home as soon as possible.
Ладно, пацаны,
Right,
мне
guys,
пора уже.
I need to
До
go.
свидания.
See ya. I held out my hand toward the two silhouettes to say goodbye. A couple of dark, thin lines trembled in front of me. They stood without moving, as if studying me.
С кедрами закорешиться решил.
Hey, you decided to battle with the Cedars?
Мы здесь
We're
вообще.
over here. I realized that Romka's voice was coming from behind and turned around embarrassed.
Деревья хреновые, кенты.
Trees make for shit bodies.
Не ссы.
Relax.
Мы тебя до дома доведем, а то ты как слепой котенок.
We'll escort you home. You're as blind as a newborn kitten.
Так здесь живем и сгниешь.
Without us, you'll end up dead around here. A secret bat hit against the stump with a flurry of sparks and started sizzling in the snow near my feet. The boys let out a strained laugh and took me by the arms. When we were leaving the clearing, I turned around in hopes to see Alisa, or at least some orange dot. What if? But I only saw a rambling tractor that was creeping out from the corner. Oh, look! A silhouette appeared on the side of the road, out of the fog. We made space to let that person through. Because of my blurry vision and the twilight semi-dark, it felt like it was a ghost floating toward us. When the silhouette got close, I was able to make out the features of an adult man. I recognized his dumpy outline. He was smoking near the school in the morning. The man gifted us with a busy stare. His cold eyes moved forward, disappearing into the darkness.
Нет горба, зато зайчья губа.
What a huge hair lip. I was afraid that the unknown man will hear this offensive rhyme, but he was already too far away. We continued our journey. That's weird. We were going outside a still fire road in silence. The silence felt oppressive, coupled with my lack of vision, so I
А
spoke.
почему тебя Бяша зовут?
Why do they call you Basha? The Buryat kid? I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce that in English. Buryat in Russian. Just marked in reply.
Потому что я волк в овечьей шкуре.
Cause I'm a wolf in sheep's clothing, eh?
Брешешь.
Bullshit.
Пургу гнать, это он умеет.
Freaking around is what he does
А звать
best.
его так, потому что блеет, как овца.
He's got his nickname because he bleeds like a sheep.
Все после того, как из черного гаража живым выбрался.
It started after he returned alive from the black carriage. Pyasha's face contorted at those words. I could see it even through the veil of blindness. He swayed and mumbled something unintelligible.
Видишь?
See?
С ним так всегда. Как об
Happens
этой
every
херне заговоришь.
time someone brings it up.
Ты сейчас о чем?
What are you talking
Ты
about?
серьезно про
Did you
эту
really
страшилку
not
не знаешь?
hear that horror
На
story?
черной
On one
улице,
pitch black street,
в черной
in a pitch black
подворотне
alleyway,
стоит черный
there is a
черный
pitch black
гараж.
carriage.
И он
It
знает о
knows
тебе
everything
все.
about you.
Где ты
Where you
живешь,
live, what you
что
like,
любишь. с
who are
кем
your
дружишь.
friends.
Наверняка слышал о пропавших детях.
I'm sure you've heard about the missing kids.
И это тут не первый год происходит.
This has been going on for a while
Все
here.
местные знают, кто здесь
The
замешан.
local folk knows who's behind all of that,
Даже взрослые.
even the adults.
Вообще, везет тебе? Ты вон в лесу, считай, живешь.
You got lucky, you live right on the edge of the
Он к
forest.
тебе так просто не сунется.
This thing won't come there without a good
Тупо
reason.
сечет, что среди деревьев будет выделяться.
It knows that it will look too foreign among the
А у
trees.
нас эта хрень может где угодно поджидать.
While in our
Иногда в конце
area,
переулка или возле дома.
this piece of crap can hide anywhere, be it at the end of the alleyway or near your
А
house.
еще
also.
Идешь такой себе ночью, и тут раз,
You'll be just going somewhere at night and BAM!
он стоит, где совсем недавно пусто было.
You'll see it in some place that was empty just a while
Дверь
ago.
открыта, внутри мрак.
Its door open, pitch dark inside.
И тут
And
как?
then Biasha pulled his cape over his head and started howling on a high, trembling note, trying to silence Romka.
Ладно, ладно, проехали.
Fine, forget it. I was trying to process Romka's story, but I couldn't figure out what to think of it. During the short time I've seen in this snow-laden village, I realized one thing: a lot of people here had some sort of experiences with something they couldn't explain. I looked at the Biasha who was speed-pattering to the
Тоха,
side.
а вот скажи, нахрена вы-то сюда переехали?
Tell me, Toha, why the hell did you move here? I heaved a deep sigh while looking at my feet. Somewhere down below, my boots were butting against the fog. I spoke words that I recited countless
У
times.
отца тут новая работа.
Dad has a new job
И
here,
мама в поселке раньше жила.
and my mom used to live
Давно
here,
еще при Союзе.
back in the Soviet days.
Здесь же нечего делать, только гнить.
There is nothing to do here but rot
Ну
away,
или как Бяша, по лесам шастать.
or, well, like Biasha here, wander around the forest. Biasha fearfully showed his face from under the hood, like a snail crawling out of its shell, and listened
Он у
in.
нас турист.
He's a camper, see.
Летом целую неделю в палатке жил.
Spent a whole week in a tent last summer,
Здесь, рядом.
here nearby.
Прикинь?
Cool stuff, right?
Хотя от мамки его звезданутый я бы сам в лес сбежал.
I mean, with a crazy old woman mother like his, I'd also flee to the forest. We kept on going, but it felt like it was the forest. But it felt like the forest was sliding by. Pines were the black keys, and the space between them the white ones. The thicket was playing its old creaky melody, the melody of woods, bear caves, and forgotten Daiga skits. The snowflakes created an exciting illusion. It felt like someone was wandering through the forest, somebody tall and noticeable, ready to camouflage as a tree or a snow pile. And then when nobody is paying attention anymore, they'll just continue moving along the road. But it was just a trick of the light. There was no one there. At least I wanted to think that. Romka suddenly stopped and said,
Слышите?
"Hear
В
that?
лесу кто-то бродит походу.
Someone is snooping around the forest." The skin under my clothes started itching, my stomach started aching. We looked the way Romka was pointing.
Высоченный, причем с нашей скоростью идет.
Really tall, matching our speed. There were no tall silhouettes behind the masts of pines, just shadows creeping in the semi-dark. Slow shadows, fast shadows, hungry shadows. The snow that fell silently from the branch made me shiver and bite into my lip, as if something huge lifted off the tree and flew away, maybe even towards us. Romka picked up a pine cone from the ground and threw it into the thicket.
Эй!
Hey! His shout ricocheted as if it hit a tightly sprained drum. The echo mocked Romka. Then the silence reigned again.
Кто-нибудь видел?
Did you see that? I shook my head. The only thing I could see were the vertical strokes of trees, the darkness, the snow, and the hazy silhouettes of my companions. I remembered the rough, textured trunks, the spongy lichen, I don't know, and the icy beads on the bottoms of the ravines.
Пойдемте скорее, а то вечереет.
Let's move faster, the sun is setting. I was again grabbed by the elbows and dragged along toward the forest, toward the pointy spires of branches. The sun had finally sunk behind the green peaks. The darkness wreathed, spread its shoulders, and started spreading like smoke. I started snowing, thick, sticky flakes, white flies following the scent of dead meat. My vision had become a small island awashed by dark waters. My morning nervousness was getting the grasp of me again. I felt that somewhere far away, at the edge of my comprehension, I heard a very calm and silent flute playing. The sound was fragile, like ice in March above the dormant water of a bottomless lake. I scrubbed inside of my ear with my finger to get rid of that auditory hallucination. The forest was silent. I imagined a child walking at night under the watchful eyes of
А вы
pines.
знали Вову Матюхина?
Did you know Vova Matyukhin?
Мальчика, который пропал недавно.
The boy who went missing recently?
А разве мы не его ищем, сладкий?
Weren't we looking for him? I shuddered and stopped staring at the person who was guiding me. At Alisa, in her unchanging fox mask. The girl was gently holding my elbow.
Что ты здесь?
What Why are you?
А ведь я тебя потерял.
I lost sight of you.
Потерял, потому что зазевался.
You did because you were careless. I squinted in suspicion.
Давно ты за нами идешь?
How long were you following
Что
us?
значит давно? Я всегда была рядом.
What do you mean, how long? I was always by your side.
За кем? За вами.
And who do you mean by us? Stunned, I looked around but couldn't find Roma and Biasha. And then I felt her cold finger on my wrist.
Пойдем же.
Let's go.
Мы собирались искать Вову.
We were going to look for Vova. Without a chance to catch my breath, she started dragging me along through the forest. I would prefer Roma and Biasha, honestly, even though they're arseholes. I was enveloped by the smell of tangerines, coffee, and firecrackers. I felt like I was a small kid again being led into the unknown. So the dark silhouettes of trees ahead, the bushes hedgehogs were very, showing us their spikes. Something rectangular appeared in our way like a small box. I became petrified. I touched the edge of my eye, pulling back at the eyelid as if trying to correct my vision. A garage made of metal rose up right from the windfall. It was big, no huge. Impossible to move without special equipment. Its walls were painted black, the kind even blacker than the darkness around us. The fox sniffed around, and it seemed like her mask twisted in disgust.
Это здесь.
This is the place. The worried voice of my companion scared me even more than the horrifying metal box. Here?
Я слышу его
I can
запах.
smell him.
Может, Вова играет с нами в прятки, и он решил спрятаться
Maybe Wow is planning hide and seek with us and he's decided to hide
внутри.
inside? I felt like I saw smoke from tentacles around the garage and searched for something in the wilted leaves. These tentacles slithered along the snowy blanket, getting close to our feet, and there was a scary screeching sound coming from the other side of huge black metal gates. Somebody or something definitely waited for us inside. My nervous movement probably looked like that of a marionette dangling in the hands of a puppeteer. I stepped toward the garage, holding my breath. And gave the sheet metal small knock with my knuckles. And then jumped back. For a moment it seemed like someone growled in pain inside the metal walls. I heard rusty metal hooks jingle on thick metal chainsaws, awaking someone huge who crawled to open the black gates. Nothing happened. My heart was racing. Nothing. Knock knock. I just turned back to the garage Run! I heard a big scared voice resound in my head. Sorry, before we proceed. Slow steps, unable to tear off the... Okay, and I was about to call Alisa when... Stumbling all over the place, a seal rushed into the night that was swarming with shadows. I ran behind the crooked pine trunk, sure that Alisa was by my side, but after a minute I realized that the girl was gone. The forest was mumbling in ancient chants, squeaking, ticking, rustling. I froze. I didn't know how much time had passed before I realized that I was standing in complete darkness in a circle of trees that were shooting up their trunks high into the sky. The world around me moved and vibrated. My ears were plugged up from all the rustling. The tree pods melted into the cosmic darkness. The bushes became cages, their hostage suddenly set free. I felt like a paw with giant claws could find its way out of the darkness and grab my stunned face at any moment. I heard a scream somewhere far away. Someone was looking for me, just like that boy who went missing. Tears stained my eyes, a heavy drop fell from my lashes. It's his father. The scream was now closer, and for a moment I even believed that I was about to be saved. One of the trees moved. It wasn't Romkan, or was it Biasha? An adult, tall, with long arms. Many shadows that looked like dogs crawled behind it, but those beasts were much larger than Julka. The forest was dormant no longer. Its true face was revealed. It stood still like a deeper skewered by the lights of an oncoming truck, and the beast all stared at me. In the semi-dark, without my glasses, I could see very little, but it was still more than enough for me to freeze in terror. A foul smell of animal piss and wet fur enveloped the clearing when the creepy procession with the giant at its head moved toward me. My legs gave way because of fear and I fell to my knees into the snow. It looked like I was praying to that figure, to the trees, to the darkness. I didn't dare lift my eyes, so when he got close, showering me with his stench for a moment, I thought that his legs were covered in grey fur. I shut my eyes so tight that red circles started dancing on the inside of my eyelids. I didn't want to look, but I could still hear everything. His breath scratched against my ears like sandpaper. His voice was deep, hoarse. No, it wasn't a voice, a roar. I fished Grandma's chant out of my memory. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. I got his stench and roaring in reply. Words could never protect against claws and fangs. I was helpless, and then I heard familiar sweet voice nearby.
Уже скорей! Попробуй его на вкус!
Come on, do it, get a taste of him.
Не надо!
No. Something hot slid across my throat like a meaty sticky rope. Someone's
Я
tongue.
же говорила, хозяин!
Bitch?
Это наш зайчик. Позаботься о нем.
Please take good care of him. Such a bitch! I trusted her! From the narrow embrasures of barely lifted eyelids covered by my trembling fingers, I watched the horrifying silhouette tower over me. I was taken in the smell of kennels, compost, pits, and moss. In front of me stood a scary horned beast with a royal presence to it. His posture told me of his awe-inspiring nobleness. His horns supported the clouds, and his popped-out ligaments pierced my eyes that were ready to burst from fear with a thorny stare. His hands were full of gifts. Candy fell to the snow, sparkling with its fancy wrappers, silvery packs of chocolate bars, and a Chupa Chups sticking out from a snow pile with its plastic stick. For you! More candy fell at my feet. A toy gun knocked against the ice, and even thought I was paralyzed by fear, still remembered the missing boy Vova had a gun exactly like this. A doll fell nearby, and then it started raining toys, a spinning top, a teddy bear with a torn-up nose, red-headed Carlson without a propeller, a tin toy soldier with a flag, a firefighter truck, and a crop-dusted plane. The toys weren't covered in blood, but my imagination was painting them with red spots and crimson leaks all on its own. A horned shadow covered the treasures that once belonged to the missing kids. Take! Hairy hands reached into surrounding darkness, took one, a mangy bunny mask that was haunting me, and forcefully pulled it over my face. Bye. The shadows of fists around us slowly and gracefully stood up on their rear legs, and then light hit my face, shattering the monster's figure in two. I put up my hand to protect myself. Flashlight's rays slid down. Anton,
Вот ты где.
there you are.
Ты совсем
Are you out of
сдурел?
your mind?
Это вообще как
What's this
понимать?
all about? I was staring at my dad, completely stunned, into the space where the monster was just a moment ago. The clearing was enveloped in darkness again, but I could still barely make out the outlines of toys and candy in the snow. I'm sure if I was brave enough to get closer to bushes, I'd find animal prints there.
Язык проглотил.
Cat got your tongue?
Одноклассники твои к нам пришли.
Your classmates came to us.
Сказали, ты сбежал от них в лес, в самую чащу и...
They said that you ran away from them deep in the forest
Что
and...
это за дрянь ты
What the
напялил?
hell are you wearing? I pulled the mask down from my sweaty face and threw it into the heap of toys. Branches cracked in the distance. I pressed myself into my father's chest and engulfed by fear. He started looking around, alerted, and spoke in a tone of voice that was much more nervous.
Так, пойдем отсюда скорее.
Okay, let's get out of
Мать
here.
узнает, такой нагоняй нам устроит.
If your
мало
mother
не
learns of
покажется.
this, she'll be so mad at us that we'll never forget this day. I reached out for my father, still feeling the chilling embrace of fear. I grabbed his firm hand, felt his quick pulse with my fingerprints. then stood up and wobbled along behind my father, following his barely discernible footprints. Back to civilization, back to light, back to the road where my dad. I'm sorry for laughing, I just imagine him when he was guided. He like, freak off, you freakers, and ran away into the forest screaming. I know, I'm sorry. Where my dad parked his car.
Дома ни слова, ясно?
And not a word about this at home,
Ни
got it?
единого намека, где я тебя нашел.
Don't even hint at where I found
Да,
you.
пап.
Alright, Dad. He was holding my hands as if it was the most precious thing in the world and kept telling me how afraid he is of losing of me or Olia. But this wasn't that sticky like an animal tone fear. His fear was a noble, crystal clear diamond, and I just nodded in reply and kept moving my feet, and then I heard a familiar voice coming from behind me. Remember?
Пока ты со мной, никто тебя здесь не тронет.
As long as you're with me, nobody will lay a finger on you. Well, they didn't hurt him, right? The car sped toward our house. Oh, this episode is long, huge, and this is a garage that Romka and Biasha were talking about. I did not expect this. I almost have no voice. If it's gonna go like at least 20 minutes longer, I'll actually lose my voice. I pressed my cheek against the window and saw a short building among the trees that shagged darker than night. The garage that was hidden inside the thicket, a metal crypt. It almost felt like it was following us. A moment passed and the building disappeared around the corner. I gulped down something bitter. Oh, sorry. And the white snowflake just kept dancing in the starry sky.
А вот и
Here
вы.
we are. Look what the cat dragged in. Mom was going down the stairs, piercing that with her trademark glare. Her face showed something between wrath and condescension. Suddenly her gaze shifted to me and stayed for a dangerously long time.
Так, я не поняла.
Hey, what's this? Where are your glasses, Anton?
А где
Did you
очки?
lose
Да
them?
в школе поди забыл, простофиля.
This time I probably just forgot them at school. A venomous pause
Весь
followed.
в тебя.
He's your son, alright. Dad glared at Mom and then mischievously winked at me, reminding me of our deal.
Ну ничего, есть же запасные. Проживем как-нибудь.
Well, we have some spare glasses, so we'll manage somehow. My parents stood in silence a bit longer and then both of them went to mind their own business. Olia threw herself into my arms as soon as I got home.
А я лису видела!
I saw a fox! Surprise akin to a shotgun blast. I could only flap my lips in reply. A cup shattered into many little pieces with a loud thang. My mom let it fall from her hands. Her face was pale and her eyes were glued to the ground. This pause, just a split second, felt like an eternity. My mom spoke with disappointment. First it was a knoll, and now it's a fox. Will you ever get tired of this?
Правда,
But it's true.
такая пушистая.
He was so fluffy.
Она у забора стояла
She
на
stood
задних лапах,
on her
совсем как человек.
back legs near the hedge, just like a person.
Она меня позвала, а тут мама вышла, и лиса убежала.
The fox called my name, but then Mom came and she fled. There was no fox. Stop making things
Не
up.
подходи к ней.
Don't go near her. If it was necessary, I was ready to shake my sister as if she was a doll made of cloth.
Ты чего, Тош?
What's wrong, Tosha?
Не подходи, слышишь?
Don't go. You hear me? Mom entered the hallway and gave me a surprised look. I hesitated.
Ну, лиса ведь
Well, a
укусить
fox will
может.
bite you. I remembered fairy tales where foxes used to kidnap children. I imagined my Alisa, yeah, possessive, liberated carnivores running through the night forest with a dangling sack in her
Это
hands.
ж была не настоящая лиса.
It wasn't a real
Расскажи
fox.
ему, Оль.
Tell him, Ola.
Она на двух ногах ходила, а еще была в платье
She
одета.
stood on two legs and she wore a dress.
Только она была взаправду.
And she was real.
Видишь?
See? Mom showed us a tired smile, as if it was the only explanation needed. I also forced myself to smile. My smile was like a thin piece of soap right before it dissolves completely on your palm. But when I was left alone with my sister, I whispered,
Еще раз увидишь ее, беги.
if you see her again, run. Thoughts of the forest beast bombarded me like a rain of candy and toys. There was a hairy silhouette standing in front of me, towering over the treetops. Who was he? What happened in the forest? What's happening to me? I shut my eyes and threw the vitamins in my mouth, washed them down with water. Please stop driving me mad, please. I barely managed to force myself to do homework, but those math problems just refused to be solved. Numbers in my notebook tumbled around and mixed in a whirling dance, sometimes running over the lines. 2 hours, 40 minutes already. What? What? My head became heavy from that pandemonium and almost dropped into that chain of numbers. My eyelids felt like there were tiny weights tied to them, the type used in grocery stores. And right at the moment I surrendered and closed my notebook, the memories of my day started flashing before my eyes. I was in the middle of this stuffy school corridor. I could see the literature classroom from here, the faces of dead classical writers and their portraits, the prim and regal pose were a homeroom teacher, Lilia Pavlovna. In the rounded corner was her daughter Katya, a snitch and a gossip, eagerly waiting for me.
Эй, новенький, новенький.
Hey, transfer student, transfer student! Her eyes look like Alisa's eyes. A lot.
Чего тебе, Кать?
What do you want, Katya? She got on her tiptoes and started swaying while hiding her hands behind her back, and then asked me with a fake smile on her face.
Скажи, пожалуйста, а чего это тебя к нам перевели?
Can I ask you something? Why did you get transferred here? I might have told the truth about this to Polina, but Katya here will sell it to the market for 3 kopeikas. It would be the same as printing all my thoughts and hanging them near Vova's picture for everyone to see, so I reverted to an answer I knew by heart.
Это все из-за моих родителей.
It's all because of my parents.
У папы тут новая работа.
Dad has a
А
new
мама-
job, and my mom. But Katya didn't even listen to me, just rushed toward the perked up ears of her friends, whispered something while stealing glances at me, giggling.
Да, конечно, конечно.
Yeah, right.
Он нас тут совсем за дурачков держит.
He takes us all for the
Я
fools.
вот слыхала, что это все из-за его отца.
I've heard it's all because of his father. Wait! Are you telling me this episode is gonna be like an hour more? Right? You're telling me I'm making a huge mistake wanting to finish it in one go, right? I've heard it's all because of his
Он
father.
недавно кому-то крутому дорогу перешел, и теперь они всей своей семейкой в нашем захолустье скрываются.
He crossed the road on some big shot, and now their family is hiding in our remote little village.
Неправда! Ты все врешь!
That's not true, you're lying.
А слышали, как он бабулина просто так стукнул?
Oh, and did you hear how he hit Baburin out of the blue?
Это каким надо быть уродом, чтобы в первый же день так над одноклассником измываться?
What kind of freak must you be to start bullying your classmates from day one?
Прекрати! Ты же знаешь, он первый начал!
Stop, you know he started it.
Будто этого мало.
And if that wasn't enough,
Ходят слухи, что он спутался с ворюгами из шайки Ромки Пятифана.
there are rumors that he hanging out with the delinquents from Romka Petifine's gang.
Ой, девочки, сумки проверяйте.
Be careful with your bags, girls.
Того и гляди, в гардеробе вещи начнут пропадать.
I wouldn't be surprised if things start disappearing from our wardrobe.
Будем знать. Это Петров с дружками постарался.
And we'll know who to blame, Petrov and his friends.
Да-да-да.
Yeah, that's right.
Замолчи! Заткнись!
Shut up.
Вон как раскричался-то, будто ужаленный.
Look at him scream as if something bit him.
А зрачки-то, зрачки какие широкие.
His pupils, look at how wide they are.
Опять чего доброго с катушек слетит и руки распускать начнет.
I hope he won't go insane and resort to violence again.
Не зря же его мать с таблетками пичкает.
I mean, there must be a reason his mom always feeds him those pills, right? I just stood there in confusion, trying in vain to understand how she was able to find out about my medicine. What scared me even more was the possibility of a horrifying truth hiding among her chatter.
Да-да,
Yeah, that's right.
Он такой же ненормальный, как и его сестрица.
He's as insane as his little sister.
Представляете, к этой сумасшедшей дурочке каждую ночь прилетает сова
Can-
ростом с человека.
Can you imagine? She says a human-sized owl visits her every night.
Да,
Yeah, that's right.
только что-то ее никто из здоровых людей не видел.
But not a single healthy person has seen it.
А этот наивный простак ей верит?
And this simpleton believes her.
Нет. Ну
Can
вы
you imagine that?
представляете?
And then I caught a single kind look from the smirking crowd.
Это правда, Антон?
Is that true, Anton?
Неужели действительно? Тебе не здоровится?
Are you unwell?
Полина, послушай меня.
Полина, please listen to me.
Как же?
You're right. Yeah, right.
Не слушай этого болтуна, Полиночка.
Don't listen to this liar, Полиночка.
Ты еще не знаешь.
You don't even know
Он тебя на другую променял.
that he
Не
cheated
из
on
нашей
you
школы.
with someone not from our school,
На Алису.
with Alisa. Полина slouched. Someone kicked her in the stomach and then burst out in tears and fell to the dirty floor, wailing and screaming. Why her, Anton? Why? I couldn't understand her reaction, but I still rushed to Polina's side before getting shouted violently by Katya.
Убери от нее свои лапы, чудовище!
Get your paws off her, you monster! Rage was building up under the veil of my fear. It slowly rose from the cloudy mist. I felt my upper lip creep up, showing my teeth.
То, что твой отец бьет мать, еще не дает тебе права поднимать руку на девушку!
The fact that your father beats your mother doesn't give you the right to do the same to girls. My fists became hammers, I couldn't unclench them. Nobody can speak about my family like that. I came to my senses when I already lunged at the angry Katya.
Слетел-таки! Слетел!
Ah, he went nuts.
Спасите! Помогите! Петро с катушек слетел!
Help! Petrov went completely insane. At the same moment, the crowd around her became louder and started whistling and roaring and groaning. The slender silhouettes of students became larger, wider. They shot upward toward the ceiling, turned into a giant black forest chock full of toothy faces. I'm out of my water, I'm out of my coffee, please. I shrank to a tiny ball of fur and started shaking in fear before the might of all forbidden trunks that belonged to either trees or humans. It was impossible to tell.
Вот ты и показал свое животное нутро!
So you finally shown your animal nature.
Трус!
Covered. Katya's face was twisted by jubilation and ecstasy. Why her? No!
Чем она лучше?
What makes her better than me? Polina screamed while choking on her tears.
Он!
He's just an animal.
Животное!
Look at that animal!
Сусак!
An outsider. A tiny bunny. A scary flapping of wings came from the forest. Two giant white ears descended somewhere from above, and I dug myself into them. Please, wake up! I jumped up, almost falling out of bed. Apparently, I was thrashing around for hours on the sweat-soaked sheets. Ola's scream pulled me out, set me free from the tentacles of fear. Wake up! Wake up! It took my eyes a while to focus on the silhouette near the window. Ola's voice was distant, my hand was still ringing after the fight. Sounds got distorted, as if my ears were stuffed with cotton. My sister, as distressed as ever, just kept on repeating the same phrase. The owl, please! I'm scared! Her tears poured on my heart like boiling water, but I was almost thankful for the owl's disappearance. Otherwise, this scared Oля wouldn't have woken me up.
Ой, я сейчас.
Wait a second, Oля.
Хочешь, я тебе Мурзилку почитаю?
Want me to read Murzilka for you? It's a journal, magazine. Yeah, for kids.
Подожди.
Kimi, I placed my bare heels on the cold floor, felt around for my glancils, remembered Simeon. his mean actions and sighed.
Антон,
Anton,
пожалуйста,
please, please,
посмотри.
look! She couldn't tear her eyes off the window as if it was a staring contest. I found the light switch with my hand, the lamp poured bright light all over me. Got up from bed, my vision fooled me, moving the window closer only to push it farther the next moment. My sister was just a blurry spot. I made a careful step forward.
Что там?
What's there?
Что
What
ты
happened?
хочешь, чтобы
Do
я
you want
открыл,
me
что
to
ли?
open the curtains?
Нет, не надо. Там же...
The wall is there. The voice was coming from behind. I turned around and froze from terror. Teary-eyed Ola stood in the doorway.
Кем?
Who?
С кем ты разговаривал, братик?
Who are you talking to right now? She stared at me with the eyes that were red from crying, with her hands wrapped around the shoulders. Her voice was nervous, as if she was afraid to hear my
Я
answer.
разговаривал
I was
с
talking
тобой,
to you,
с тем,
to
кто
someone who
притворялся
pretended to be
тобой.
you. The ledge outside my window creaked ominously, as if something huge was sitting on top of it. And the thing that pretended to be Ola started spreading, changing shape, grew to scary heights under the light of a carnivorous moon. Come closer. The voice didn't belong to my sister anymore. The thing was hiding behind my curtains, got tired of pretending, making me look like a fool. I pinched myself as hard as I could, hoping that the silhouette near the window was just a continuation of a nightmare hallucination brought upon by the cursed house, and those don't bite, do they? The silhouette was towering before me under the veil of mist. I heard Ola's shrill scream and someone had knocked on the window. It came to get us! Another knock, a step back in the middle of the room, as if there existed nooks where I could hide from this horror. The sound was sharp, metallic. The lamp started shimmering, then suddenly lighted the hall. And went out like a candle under a strong wind. The filament inside it snapped with a ringing sound. The darkness that was waiting for that exact moment parted from all the angles and enveloped me. There was only this window left in the whole universe, and moonlight fell through it, painting everything the color of bones that were exhumed from a crypt. Ola started squealing and pressed herself into my back, seeking protection. And then an eye, burning with the carnivorous fire, stared at us from the window. No, it wasn't trying to break the window, it was toying with us. It just kept on knocking, driving us mad. And as if a giant clock was measuring the time we had left, and its pendulum kept swinging above the abyss. Go away, Shu, leave us be! She was screaming in desperation, her hands clutching my arm like a pair of pincers. Come closer. I could barely make out a pair of wings that spread out above the black spot. Tell her, Anton.
Скажи, что я больше не буду себя плохо вести.
Tell her that I won't be a bad girl anymore. Never ever.
Только пусть она уйдет.
I just wanted to leave. Please. The moonlight suddenly disappeared and the room descended into the darkness. We couldn't see burning eye anymore. I swallowed the stinging lump that was stuck in my throat. I stepped toward the curtains, entranced by the cell of this disfigured guest.
Не буду, не буду, не буду.
Ola was standing behind me, mumbling, I'll be good, I'll be good, I'll be good. The bleak window was creeping closer, curtains rustled. I reached out to move the curtains aside so I could look my fear in the eye. At that moment I heard a noise coming from our parents' bedroom. Without thinking, I pulled the curtains to the side in one swing. Nothing. Though there were some shining on the ledge among the scattered feathers. Something shining. My glasses. The ones that Simeon took from me. How did they get here? Was that a gift from the gurgling night? Did that all really bring them here? I looked at the front yard and the foreboding clearing at the toothy forest. Not a soul, not even a hint of our late guest. Only the old lamppost streaming like a lone watchman among the snowy desert. The dry window from frame creaked. I tore away the insulating tape and these types of glued newspapers. It's so it wouldn't be as cold during the winter. Window insulation. Yeah. To conserve heat in winter. Yeah. I barely managed to open the window. Frost stunned me with its little needles. The paintings on my wall moved from the draft. I touched my glasses, sure they would melt in my hands. But they were real. My brain was scrambling for an explanation. Simeon and his gang just pulled a prank on me, that was it. And a smooth white blanket was glittering under the street lamp just outside our yard. If anybody was to get close to the house, to climb the pipe to the ledge of my window, they would surely leave footprints, but there were none. I cautiously took my glasses. My wrist was still intact. Nobody pulled me into the darkness, full of restless
Вы
writing.
почему не спите?
Why aren't you in bed? I swayed from surprise and almost fell out of the
Совсем
window.
сдурели?
Are you out of your
Жарко,
mind?
что ли?
Did it feel hot
Не
in
болели
here?
давно?
Do you want to catch a cold?
Там сова была. Тоша ее прогнал.
The wall was there. Tosha chased
А
it
ну-ка,
away.
марш спать к себе в комнату.
Go to your room immediately and get in your bed.
А с тобой?
And you? Mom paused directly, directing her seething eyes at me. She was thinking of a punishment equivalent to my mistake. In the end, she just waved her hand, took Oля by shoulder and left, leaving with her last green words.
Завтра поговорим.
We'll talk tomorrow. I managed to get the frame back in place with a couple of hits, pressed the latches with all the strength my fingers could master. The cold left the room, but the fear was still present. I placed my glasses on my nose and started studying my reflection in the window. It didn't look like a face, more like a death mask. The boy from the posters, I think, had it too. That night, I was on the edge of joining him there. A black and white face staring at me through the clearing between students' hats. Semyon Baburin. And it wasn't Wova. His face was right beside it. I recognized that fat cheeks, that damaged skin. Semyon. Baburin's photo was printed out and placed under the glasses, like an exhibition piece. Жизлис. Thank you for completing episode 2. We are deeply grateful for everyone who purchased the game in early access. All the profits will go towards further development of the game. That was awesome. That was insane. I hope you like it as well. If you do, you can check out the game. The link is in the description. If you get it this far, press a like because you obviously enjoyed the episode, right? And I hope and write me what you think about the game in the comments. I can't wait to read them all and answer. And thank you so much for being here. Smooches to all of you, and I'll see you later. I'm sorry, I'm very tired of talking, so I'm not gonna scream this time. See ya.